Hello, my Teaserking family. How is everybody today? I am fine. I was just watching some Egon. Just watching some Egon. Very, very important that I will show you. Let's talk football first. And my mic is working. I'm so excited. Sad when you got to check your mic out. So I'm pretty happy. I heard from Daria this morning. She says, I was working. I go, can you at least tell me? I assumed you were, but can you at least talk to me? So I asked her, how do you celebrate second Christmas? Christmas, January 7th. And I'm like, I know you celebrated December 25th. No, just going to have some food, I guess. Nothing. Well, they already have the Christmas tree up from December 25th. So I don't know if it's as serious or they do twice. But anyway, just curious about that. So let's focus on football right now. Then we'll get to Egon. So first, let's do the lines. As of 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Now in Baltimore, I am seeing a lot of rain and a lot of wind. And you know what that means. Baltimore 34.5, down from 35.5. Houston still 1.5, 47.5 over Indy. I don't like that they're the road favorite. The only play here to me is Indy or maybe an over. New Orleans 3 and 42.5. This game, I don't know. This is such a hard because Tampa wins, they're in. I think New Orleans wins, but it's a playoff game, and I don't like I'd prefer to take Atlanta, but I don't feel comfortable taking Atlanta. The Bengals 7.5, 37.5 over the Browns, and the quarterback for Cleveland is Jeff Driscoll of all players. Where the hell are they? So they obviously let P.J. Walker go. Picked up Flacco. I've never heard of resting your four-string quarterback before. So we know that all the injuries. So we got Deshaun Watson out. We've got Thompson Robinson out. P.J. Walker gone. Your four-string is Flacco, and you're resting him. Who rests their four-string quarterback? Never, ever heard this. So now you're on your fifth-string quarterback, Jeff Driscoll, who sucks, which makes the Cincinnati play a whole lot better here. Now we got to check on Chase, but we will out. New England 1.5, 30.5. But whatchamacallit? We've been lied to. There's not going to be 6 to 12 inches of snow. There's maybe a half inch. And the wind's coming down and maybe 12 miles an hour. So I'm looking at this game again going, no. This is now an easy over game. Jacksonville 3.5, 41.5. Hasn't changed. Trevor Lawrence still questions. Game time with the shoulder and an ankle. They got to go to Beathard if he can't go. I still think Tennessee wins it straight out. Detroit 3.5, 46.5. Up from 45.5. I played this game over 2 weeks ago and won, and I'm playing this game over tomorrow. Detroit is a perfect over team. They're like Miami in the fact they have a good offense and a terrible defense. I mean, the Lions give up 27 a game and more against good teams, right? Since they've had this weird schedule where they've had the Michigan schedule where they played at least 7, 8 teams that suck, that couldn't win a game in the Pac-10, right? You'd have Washington, Oregon, USC, UCLA, Utah, Oregon State, Washington State, and then the Carolina and Atlanta and half the teams that they beat. Oakland when they played them, San Diego and Denver. I mean, it's just pathetic. So, oh wait, they played a couple of good teams. Baltimore. I'm not sure about Dallas, Seattle, and they got their ass kicked. So. Yeah, I'm not really sure about that. All right, Tampa, 4.5, 36.5. They must win. Let's say it's like 16-mile-an-hour winds. Let me check what it is today. Tampa must win or they're out, basically. Because even if Atlanta beats New Orleans, Atlanta wins the division. So Tampa can only win the division by winning, and they can't win a wild card. So they have to win. Mayfield has a hurt rib, but we've seen that before. So it'll probably be low scoring because they'll probably run it more and play defense. And, they have a backup who they should be playing is Trask. He's better anyway. Dallas, 13, 46.5. Must win. Do they want the 2 seed and win the division and get the home games? I would think so. Against Washington, who has a 34 defense. The Rams and the Niners are 4, 40.5. Nobody's trying in this game. This game makes no sense. So the Rams are just Stafford's out, Cooper Kupp's out, the running back's out, Aaron Donald's out. Niners, Purdy's out. McCaffrey's out. Deebo Samuel probably plays 5 minutes. There's no incentive to play. I'm surprised the Rams aren't playing because they got to play next week. But sitting out Purdy's a mistake. Maybe you play him the first half. You got to get him ready and let him throw a little bit. Keep his timing. Then get him out of there. So let him play 2-3 series. But to sit him out is stupid because that means he's not going to play for 3 weeks. And when he does play in the playoff game, he'll be flat. Timing will be off, and they have a good chance to lose, just like Baltimore. You can't do this in football. Try doing it in baseball. Where's Bobby? Try sitting there in baseball and be out for a week, and then wonder if your timing, when you go up to hit, if your timing's there, and you'll see it isn't. I golf, right? So I played baseball and I golf. I can't golf. I can't just go out and golf. I have to go to the range, and I have to go to the school, and I have to go to the putting green. At least swing and hit the ball. I can't just go to the course and not practice and have my timing down. It'll never work. These type of sports, you must keep your timing. So big mistake here by the Niners and Baltimore. Philly, 5.5, 41.5. Hasn't moved against the Giants. 28 defense for Philly, 25 for the Giants. Jesus. Green Bay, 345 against the Bears. That's your free pick. Go over in the game. The Bears just score, and with Fields, he's not a good quarterback, but he's a good running back. And DJ Moore, he's good enough to throw him the ball, and he runs through everybody. Packers with the weak defense at 24, but the Packers, I don't like Love. The receivers are always hurt, but they score, and it's a do or die at home. Look for them to score, so it should be, hell, we only need 39 in this game. I mean, we don't even. All we need is 21-20 for a win, and game will be in the 20s. I can't imagine that. No snow, no wind. Seattle 347.5. Seattle must win if Green Bay loses, which is probably about 80% that the Bears will beat them, especially with that injury to the one receiver. The other receivers can't seem to catch the ball. Love can't throw the ball. It's up to Aaron Jones, the running back. If he plays, then you got to respect the run, which makes the passing open up. But it wouldn't surprise me if Green Bay loses just because they have to win. They're an 8-8 team. They're not a good team. You can't bet any 8-8 team assuming they need the game, they're going to win it. That's why they're 8-8. So like Seattle minus 347, this is another game that I do not like the team, but I like the over. And this is another 28-27 defense. This game will be very high scoring. And we only need 41. We only need this Vegas lines. They're so fucked up, Vegas. Oakland 337.5 over Denver. What can I say? Oakland with the best defense in the league now. Crosby playing well. Aaron Pierce, I don't know that he hasn't playing well. I mean, you look at who he's playing, but he's playing more defense. And O'Connell is just tossing 5-yard passes. So look for this game to be under. The Chiefs in San Diego 3.5, 35.5, and they are sitting out Mahomes. What the fuck are they doing? And Kelsey will probably not play. He's got a hurt neck. Probably won't play a lot. But Checo is probably not going to play. San Diego, they're already out. Herbert and Keenan Allen and Bosa. So they're already missing their 3 stars. 3.5, 35.5. This is interesting. Khalil Mack's got like 17 sacks. Yeah, and they've won 3 games. Oh, God. See, this is where the coach fucked them up, right? The bad coach. Now, I would say that when he did the go for a 4th and 1 at their own 25 against Minnesota with a minute left in the game and they're up 28-24 is when he lost the team. Just like the Miami of Florida guy, when he didn't take a knee and the guy fumbled, which really wasn't a fumble. He was down and the guy ripped it out of his hand. But even so, why didn't you take the knee? You lost me right then. Van Dyke transferred. He's going to Wisconsin. Like, dude, really? Wisconsin? He should have went to Washington because look what this coach is doing. But anyway, so when you get a bad coach, the players aren't stupid. They're going to see this and just roll their eyes and go, I can't play for this guy. That's what happened in Oakland. That's what happened in San Diego, Miami of Florida. All right. So here's San Diego 3.5, 35.5. No Mahomes, stick. So what do you do when there's no quarterbacks? You go under. And that's why. And Oakland's got a good defense anyway, or Kansas City. They got a 21 defense, so I look for a low-scoring game. Here, where are you going to get points from? Even with Mahomes, they weren't scoring, so without Mahomes. And then we got Buffalo, 2.5, 48.5. To Miami. Miami, the best over team in the league because they can score and they can play defense. Here comes Buffalo, and Buffalo's in a do or die. No matter what Pitt does, Buffalo, has to win. Even if they get in, if Buffalo loses and gets in as a 5 seed, or they probably get in as a 7 seed, how long are they going to last? Everybody loves Buffalo. Oh, I wouldn't want to. I heard some idiot say, "Well, who's the best team that can get to the Super Bowl of these teams that must win?" And Buffalo? No, sorry, buddy. Buffalo's not that good this year. That's why they are struggling to get in the playoffs. So, we got a 25 defense in Miami, which is more of a 28 in the big games. Look for Buffalo to pour it on. Miami, you got Hill and Tag, but you don't have Mozart's not playing, and then I doubt he'll play. If he does, he's not going to be any good against Buffalo's fully stocked. I'm a bit. I don't understand this line. It's 2.5. Why it's not 3? So it's a good teaser to go 3.5. I don't see any chance Miami has of winning this game, especially without Mozart and Waddle. Now, they have other running backs. They just showed you last week. But Baltimore put the blueprint out and exposed their defense. A lot of injuries for Miami. I'd say they have no chance of winning this game. All right. That's your lines. Let's go to the weather. I was just looking at it. So we start off in Baltimore, raining definitely, and a 16-mile-an-hour wind, and no Lamar. 2 good defenses. Can you say I'm betting the game under? Because you can't trust Pitt with Mason Rudolph to win the game. Even though Lamar's not playing, Baltimore, I don't mind Huntley playing. He's fine. He can beat Pittsburgh. I think they want to win without Lamar and then tell Pittsburgh to shove it up their ass. I don't see Baltimore just laying down tonight. I see them playing them to win. And they're going to run the ball, and it's raining out. So I look for a close game. I look for an under game here. And I have just played it under because I was waiting. But now that I see the weather, rain, and that the key is 16-mile-an-hour wind. That's your real key, right? You got 16-mile-an-hour winds. You need Lamar for that because he's going to run. But without him, Huntley can run. He'll do a little bit. Why did they put Houston, Indy in the weather? It's a dome. We don't give a fuck about the weather. They're in a dome. That's like giving weather for basketball. They play inside. We don't really need weather. Cleveland, Cincy, we got 13-mile-an-hour winds, down from 17-mile-an-hour winds. Chance of snow was 38 degrees. Mostly it's just Driscoll against Browning, and we'll look and see if Chase is playing. Been in Detroit in the dome, Jacksonville, Tennessee, 43 degrees and 9-mile-an-hour winds. So the winds are no factor. Hey, Alex, how are you today? The Jets in New England. Now, this is where Greg and John lied to us. He said 6 to 12 inches of snow. There's like maybe a half inch. It's likely snow. It's 27 degrees and 15-mile-an-hour winds, down from 25-mile-an-hour winds. That's huge. So you take away 6 to 12 inches of snow, put it in with a half inch is nothing. And then you go, and it's only 15-mile-an-hour winds. But Vegas hasn't changed their number. It's still 30. You got to love the over here. With Zappi against Simeon. The Jets are a 24 defense now, and New England 17, 18. But I think Simeon can score, and Zappi certainly can put up. And all we need now is 24 points, and we don't have the high winds, and we don't have the big snowstorm. So this is a joke. Go over 24. Are you kidding me? They might have this at halftime, 24. It's Zappi. It's not Mac Jones, and it's. I don't mind Zach Wilson or Simeon, but the Jets' defense isn't what it was. There's too many injuries, so this is a joke. Atlanta, New Orleans in a dome. Tampa, Carolina. In Carolina, 52 degrees, 14-mile-an-hour winds. Down from 16. So again, on the weekend, it's calming down a little bit. 52. You're looking at Mayfield with a rib. I'm sure he'll wear the John Elway rib protector. Why he didn't wear it in the first place, he wouldn't have gotten hurt. it's a playoff game, and somebody like Mayfield will play and will win. Carolina is so bad. Again, if they played in the Big Ten, SEC, Pac-10, Big 12, they wouldn't win a game there either. Just pathetic team. How do you get a team this bad? How can you not mistakenly draft somebody? I just hope Ollie Gordon doesn't end up there. My guy, my runner from Oak State. I hope he goes to a good team. Chicago against Green Bay. 33. The game's in Green Bay. 33, which is very warm for Green Bay, and only 8 miles an hour. So the weather is no factor in Green Bay in January. Gotta love it. The Bears are a cold weather team anyway, so the 33 won't bother them. So that's your free pick. Go over. I love it. Denver, Oakland in a dome. Philly and the Giants in New York. Small chance of snow. It's 33 now. 7-mile-an-hour winds. So we're going to get good weather for our Philly Giant game, which is what we want. A 28 defense in Philadelphia, a 25 defense in the Giants. Philadelphia just gave up 35 to Arizona. It's going to be pretty much the same. In fact, their defense is so bad, this should be a lock Philadelphia because they have to win and hope Dallas loses to Washington, which is not going to happen, but Philly's still going to play. I can't even trust that. So I got to go over in the game because I can't trust that Philly wins with this defense. You got Matt Patricia. How is this coach still there? This coach should be fired. Patricia should not. To hire Patricia in the first place, you got to be out of your fucking mind. Did you not watch him on the Lions? Fuck that place up for 2 years, and you like that? Oh, look what he did for the Lions. Yeah, we want to hire him. Oh my God, these people are so stupid. All right, so 7-mile-an-hour winds. You got to love Philly over in this game. Seattle, Arizona in a dome. KC, San Diego in a dome. Rams in Frisco, where nobody's playing anyway. I've never seen where Stafford and Purdy are both out, and McCaffrey, and their running back, the Rams running back, and Cooper Kupp and Aaron Donald are all out. What the fuck's going on here? 52 miles an hour, 12-mile-an-hour wind, which is all irrelevant because nobody's playing. Dallas, Washington, 46 degrees, nice and sunny day in Washington, and 15-mile-an-hour winds. Which is nothing. Anything under 20 is fine. It won't be a problem. I got Dallas 34-7. I think the over-under in the game is way too high because I don't think Washington on an 80-degree sunny day with no wind couldn't score 10 points. They got 10 on Frisco last week on some fluke. Dallas also very strong defensively in a must-win game for the 2 seed. And that's it. Good morning, G. How are you today? And the last game, Buffalo, Miami, 67 degrees, slight chance of rain, and 12-mile-an-hour wind, which is not going to bother the game. A slight chance of wind. A big rain would be, 4%. So it's going to be 67 and a slight wind, which is good for Miami. That's your weather for the game. Now, this RotoWire is not reliable because it's not telling me when I get to like here, Cleveland. Joe Flacco is sitting out. He's not playing. Why do they still have Flacco instead of Jeff Driscoll? So, again, let's go through. The quarterback's sitting out. Joe Flacco for Cleveland. We got Mahomes sitting out for Kansas City. Probably Kelsey. Probably Pacheco. Stafford and the whole offense sitting out. Cooper Kupp, the running back. Aaron Donald, Purdy, and McCaffrey sitting out for the Niners. And Lamar sitting out for Baltimore, which they're probably better with Huntley anyway. All right. So Lamar's MVP of the league. Really pretty pathetic. Pretty shitty league when he's MVP. All right, so let's go to injuries, and we're just going to look at specific ones. Like, I'm not going to fuck around with Arizona and Atlanta because they don't have any players that are any good that we would go, oh, he's out. Heineke, questionable with an ankle. If they don't go to Heineke, they go to Riddler. Baltimore, a lot of them are playing, so they're playing to win tonight. Zach Flowers is out. Beckham is out. And Lamar is out. Well, Beckham, who cares? He sucks anyway. And you got rain and wind. The perfect formula for an under. Buffalo. Josh Allen is probable with a stinger, which is what Purdy has. So Purdy to sit out today makes sense. So he gets 3 weeks to rest his stinger because that's what cost him the Super Bowl last year was Purdy getting hurt. Carolina. Do they have any players on their team, Carolina? Miles Sanders. Oh, he's probable with the flu. Chalk is probable with the foot. Bryce Young probable with the back. Yeah. These guys all couldn't make first team Pac-10. The Bears. Foreman probable, the running back. Mooney, the receiver's out with a concussion. Herbert, the running back's questionable. DJ Moore, who's the most critical for our bet, is probable. That's what we really want. We needed DJ Moore and Fields. That's all we care about. Cincinnati, T. Higgins, doubtful with the hamstring. Browning, probable with the foot. Chase, probable. Chase is fucking playing. Wow. Why wouldn't he be getting ready for the NFL draft? I'm shocked. Or transfer portal. See, why is college allow this stupid transfer portal? And why is it just before the bowl games? This is ridiculous. Here's Chase. He's not transferring portal to San Francisco or anything, or Minnesota and play with Jefferson. God, can you believe that LSU team had Chase Jefferson, Chocolatey Claire, Moss's kid, and fucking Joe Burrow? Oh, no wonder they scored 50 points a game. What a team. Oh, my God. So Chase is playing. I got to love Cincinnati against Driscoll. Jeff Driscoll is quarterbacking for Cleveland, and you got Browning and Chase playing. Oh, my God. Cleveland, let's see. Is Myles Garrett playing? I don't know. Let's see. Myles Garrett is out. Okay, so we can add that. Myles Garrett is out. Kareem Hunt, what the hell is he playing for? Amari Cooper is out. Flacco is all of a sudden Flacco's a starter. He's sitting out. So you've got Amari Cooper out. You got Flacco. I can't even believe we're talking. And we've got Myles Garrett out. We might have to bet Cincinnati now if you're going to give it. If you're giving me the game, I might have to take it. Oh my God, that's unbelievable. So Cleveland, are they that good? They're gonna give up a game and just go into the playoffs and turn the switch. Really, these are the stupidest teams I've ever seen. They're all so worried about injury, yet they're not worried about winning a playoff game. The team that'll do well is like if Tampa needs the game and wins today against Carolina, they'll do well in the playoffs because then they're on a high. Yeah, or the Packers if they do it, or Seattle if they do it. Buffalo if they kill Miami and they get in. Look out! I mean that's what you want to be on an upswing. Not we sat out the whole team. I'm sure we're ready now. It's only football. Oh my God! So those three are out. So I got to bet. I got to bet Cincinnati. Another free pick. Take Cincinnati. Dallas. Well, they everybody's playing here. Too bad that whatchamacallit. Too bad Prescott's playing. Then they would win for sure if Prescott was out. How many picks is Prescott going to throw this week? 2, I think. Because it's a big game. Yeah, 2 interceptions. Yep. My favorite's when Tony Romo does the analysis. Like, he knows, this was the defense. There. Like, Tony, if you knew that much, then how come you were such a shitty quarterback? Yeah. It was like Matt Millen doing a game saying, that guy's going to be good on Sunday. You go, Matt, you have no idea who's good on Sunday. You proved that. You couldn't draft, if they gave you the player. Here, this is a surefire Hall of Famer. I won't draft him. Denver. I don't know. Sutton's probable with a concussion. Mims is probable. Well, Josie Jewell's been out all year, probable. I can't believe these guys are playing in this last game. Russell Wilson out, coach's decision. It's going to be hard for Sean Payton to get the team back, because if you're sitting Russell Wilson out for who the fuck you're quarterbacking with, Stidham, you're sitting out a Hall of Fame Russell Wilson for Stidham, and you're going to keep the team. So they're going to empty the team, I would assume, and go after Primetime Junior. Detroit. What are the tight ends playing? Decker, the tackle's playing. Right now, the center's playing. So all these guys that easily could sit out because they've got the 3 seed lock. Dallas is not going to lose to Washington. Yeah, Detroit's going to play. I don't think the coach is all there. In other words, he'll go for fourth and 7, apparently, for a 2-point conversion, believing he could get it, even though the reality is there's no way you're picking up 7 yards on Dallas. And he goes for 4th down a lot, fake punts. He's really an idiot, right? He doesn't know how to coach. And like here, he believes Washington is going to beat Dallas. Really? The second worst team in the league, 15-1 against on a teaser. He thinks they're going to beat Dallas. Wow. So we're going to play. Why are you playing? You have no chance of getting the 2 seed. It's Dallas is going to win. Or if they're losing, Philadelphia is going to win. But Philly will be laughing pretty hard if Dallas is losing to Washington. So Dallas will kill Washington. So how does Detroit think they're going to get the 2 seed? So you're playing the guys. Now, I don't know. I don't believe in the resting, but this guy, we want to win every game. So, okay. Green Bay. Let's see. Aaron Jones, probable. And Dillon, the other running back, out with the – so what is the stinger now? The injury of I've never heard of it before, that so many people are getting stingers. Now there's 4 people with the stinger. I don't know. Quay Walker, my guy from Georgia, probable. In a big game, you need your Georgia guys. Campbell, probable. Well, there's not much for Jalen Reed's out with the ribs from MSU. So as long as they got Aaron Jones, the running back, they'll win. Well, they might win, but we don't care. We just want a lot of points in the game. Houston, I don't know anybody on the team. I can't. Nobody worth mentioning in the injury list. So nobody's sitting out. Nobody for Indy sitting out. Obviously, big game. Jacksonville, Beathard looks like he's going to be the quarterback. Trevor Lawrence, questionable game time decision, which means he might try it. He's got a hurt shoulder and the high ankle sprain. What do you even want him out there? I mean, is Beathard not good enough? I think he's from Iowa. Why do I want Trevor Lawrence out there with he can't throw the ball. He's got a bad shoulder. And if he could, he'd be playing. So I don't know. Maybe he plays, but at this point, according to the line, it's a 3.5-point favorite. He's not playing. Now, if we see the line shoot the 6, then he's playing tomorrow. But right now, he's not. I don't think they'll win anyway at Tennessee. Tennessee's a very good home dog. 8-0 is a home dog. So I don't think Jacksonville is any good. If they don't play in London, they can't win a game. Kansas City, I told you, so they're sitting out. Let's see. Tony is out. Ray Rice is out. Mahomes is out. Chocolate Eclair is questionable. McKinnon is out. These guys are actually out because they're injured. Kelsey's probable at the neck. Can somebody explain why Kelsey's playing if Mahomes isn't in this game? Or does he need 5 catches to get to 100 and then he'd be the first tight end, since the beginning of dawn that caught 100 passes in 2 years in a row or something? I don't understand this. If his neck's hurting him, what the fuck's he out there for? Anyway, San Diego. Let's see. Bosa out. Keenan Allen out. That's enough for me. We know Herbert's out. So, yeah, San Diego's got Kansas City. First team to 10 wins. The Rams, as I said, we've got Aaron Donald out. I love it. Out with the rest. Like, it's the injury. Out Sunday, rest. He's out resting. Williams, the running back's resting. Cooper Kupp's resting. Stafford's resting. I've never heard this before. I've been doing this since 1965. I've never heard of this before. Oakland. Max Crosby probable. That's all I need to bet the under then. Jacobs is out, the running back. Meyer, the tight end from Notre Dame, is out. Miami. So here's the trouble boy. Acne, the running back, will take over for Mozart. He's out of A&M. He's good. Tyreek Hill, probable with an ankle. Okay, that's good. Jalen Ramsey, probable with the knee, but he won't last. Waddle, questionable with an ankle. I doubt he'll play. Mozart, questionable with an ankle. I doubt he'll play. But you don't need Mozart and you don't need Waddle. You need Hill, and you got Hill and you got Tagovailoa. We have enough to go over. Chubb is out, the linebacker, so that's even better for the over. They will find a way to score on Buffalo, and Buffalo is going to come and find a way to score over and over on Miami. There's no way Miami wins the game. Tagovailoa does this in big games, and the way their defense looked against Baltimore, they couldn't stop. They made Mahomes the MVP. So what happens if Josh Allen throws for 6 touchdowns? Is he now the MVP? That's what he's going to do, because they took notes. So, hell, they let Lamar do this and they let Lamar do that. Minnesota, I expect everybody, all hands on deck here. They need it, and hope that Green Bay loses and Seattle loses and New Orleans loses and Tampa Bay loses, and basically the whole anybody who has more than 6 wins loses. But they have their own. They only have their self to blame. They had against Chicago last week, and the idiots put in Hall, and then this week it looks like Mullins is the quarterback. The New York Giants. I mean, what's the point? Tyrod Taylor. That's the point. Tyrod Taylor. Okay, he's playing. Then we can get the over in the Philly game. That's all we care about. The Jets. Geez, do they have anybody? Lazard probable. Zach Wilson out with a concussion, so we're going to get Simeon. There are a lot of injuries. I don't like when people think that the coach is bad. I heard, the coach is not good. I'm like, the coach is great. Go ahead and lose Aaron Rodgers. So you're Kansas City. Go lose Mahomes and see how you do, right? Look at San Diego without Herbert. They suck. You lost Aaron Rodgers. Get off the coach. Jesus Christ. He's a good coach. New England. Belichick's last game, I believe. I'll make sure of that. I mean, are they going to win for him? Can they win for him? Do they give a shit about Belichick? I don't know that they'll win for him. They'll be like, Tom Brady's not there. We don't like him anyway. glad he's gone. This will be interesting. Does Harbaugh go there to New England? I've heard Harbaugh going to San Diego. I'm talking about Jim Harbaugh. He'll probably lose another big game because he's good at that. He's never really won anything. He won the Pac-10 with Stanford, but he lost the game. So they didn't go undefeated. And then at Michigan, he keeps losing to Ohio State. Then he lost in the playoffs the last 2 years, and they're going to lose to Washington this year. So he doesn't know how to win. A lot of turnovers have killed him. Fumbled punts, like last week, fumble punt. Who's coaching your special teams? Why don't you have your brother coach the special teams? You had a fumbled punt and a botched punt at the goal line. You got lucky to beat Alabama, but Alabama is not that good. Neither was Ohio State. So Michigan's 2 wins are really not that impressive. I heard somebody bitching about Washington. Well, Michigan's got this great defense. I'm like, against whom? Oh, Nebraska and Indiana and Rutgers. They have a great defense. Oh, no, Boston College, Vegas, and Bowling Green. Yeah, that's their defense. And then it came up with who did Washington beat? Oh, only Oregon twice, Arizona, and now Texas, who are all under 20s. Oregon is a 17 defense. They beat twice. And then they beat Texas with the 17 defense. And then Arizona with a 20 defense. So they beat some pretty good defenses. More importantly, they beat Oregon twice, and Michigan is nowhere near Bo Nix in Oregon with a running attack and a great defense. Just ask Colorado how good Oregon's defense is. All right, enough said there, but this is why I can't listen to the radio because, so you're listening to the guy. So it's to be like you're listening to me and then somebody calls in and says their 2 cents. And I'm like, who gives a fuck? We don't care about you. They're come to listen to me. And so Joe Blow comes on the radio and he's, giving his 2 cents. Oh, Michigan's this and Washington's that. I'm like, I don't give a fuck. Who are you? You're a nobody. You're getting into my space. I got to turn the channel because I don't want to hear the idiots give their 2 cents. That's the problem with this radio here. The sports radio is they're too stupid to say anything on their own. So they have to take phone calls so we can listen to other idiots talk. Just like gold. Oh my God. People just have no clue. All right. So I'm looking at New England. There's nobody here to even look at. Zappy's the quarterback's all we care about. New Orleans, I'm sure all hands on deck. Olave's probable. Kamara's questionable with an ankle. It must be bad if he's still questionable with an ankle today. I need Kamara if I want to go over on the game, which I have not bet this game. That's it. Philadelphia, Swift is questionable with an illness, so he'll play. An illness is the boot. He's playing. Devontae Smith is out with the leg. All of a sudden, he's out. No big deal there. Slay's out. He's been out. That's it. The Kobe Dean, my Georgia guy's out. That's it. So it's really pretty. They're Swift is questionable, and Devontae Smith is out. I'm sure Swift plays, but it's okay. They will score early and often on the Giants. Pittsburgh today. Najee Harris, the running back, probable. Kenny Pickett, but he's not the quarterback. It's going to be Rudolph. See, Rudolph has a good game against Cincinnati, and now they think he's a superstar. Well, where was he before? He never played like that. Oh, he's really trying now. Yeah, bullshit. The guy sucks. And he's going to show you how much he sucks when Baltimore wins this game. The Niners, I already told you. A lot of players out. Just resting. Brock Purdy out with the rest. McCaffrey out with the calf and a rest, I'm sure. And I'm sure Deebo Samuel won't stay in long, and Kittle probably won't stay in long. Seattle, Kenny McIntosh is out with a thumb, my Georgia guy. He'll be something next year when he'll be healed up. Kenny Walker the third, Michigan State is probable. He's playing. Lockett probable. That's it. So I'm sure Metcalf is fine. So look for the points. Tampa Bay. A lot of probables. Mayfield probable with ribs. See, you can tell a team like they're really ready to play is all their injuries are probable. They don't have any question. They're all playing. We need you. I'm playing. The only guy out is some M. Green defensive lineman, and even Shaq Barrett's been hurt, playing with the groin. That's it. Larry David's playing. Everybody's playing. Tennessee. Now, they don't need the game. They're out of it. Will Levis, questionable with the foot. I think Tannehill's the quarterback anyway. I don't see anything critical here. I don't even know these guys are. When I don't know who, Keith Jackson, the commentator who's dead, is the wide receiver who's out. I mean, that's the problem. Washington, 3 cornerbacks on IR. Yeah, okay, Dallas is going to have a big game. 3 cornerbacks and then a DB on IR. Wow. Brissett, probable with the hamstring. But they don't have him starting, I don't believe. It's still Heineken. So those are your injuries. We've done the weather. We've done the line. So basically, we can walk through this one more time. Cincinnati, 7.5, 37, 13-mile-an-hour winds. And now you've got Driscoll, and you don't have some of the other, and you don't have Myles Garrett playing. This is Cincinnati at home. Chase is playing. So what the fuck's Chase playing with the hurt shoulder, and he's still playing? So look for See, that's a sign Cincinnati's going to win. When you got Chase, your superstar besides Burrow, and he's going to play. Minnie in Detroit. Minnie needs it. Detroit, it's a pipe dream if they think they're getting the 2 seed. But this coach is so out of his mind. They're going to play to get it. You'll see Goff and all these guys. And Detroit will play to win. Minnesota, it's Mullins against Goff. And I would look for a high-scoring game again. I don't really trust Detroit. Well, Detroit will probably win because they're so embarrassed about the stupidest play in the world. As I said the other day, you could have the whole team go to the ref. It's not like Dallas can get confused because the ref's going to say number 70 is eligible. And then, okay, we'll guard number 70. We'll ignore 68, 69, 71 because they're ineligible. Only 70 is eligible. So the play wouldn't have worked anyway. And this whole thing, all he did was confuse the ref to run a play that he threw to an ineligible receiver. Then everybody's bitching at the refs. The refs didn't make a mistake. Why should the league apologize for what? He didn't. If 70 was eligible and he told Dallas 70 is eligible, then what are you bitching about 68 catching the ball for? Why did you throw it to 68? He was never eligible. He never reported. The refs running to tell Dallas it's 70 that's eligible. And all they had to do was call a timeout or something and say, what number did you get eligible? Oh, no, it's not 70, it's 68. And 68 should have been in Hogan. I don't think he heard me. Or 68 just said, yeah, I'm eligible. And the ref, did the ref confirm it? Anyway, it wouldn't have mattered. they would have told Dallas 68 is eligible. Dallas would have covered 68 instead of 70. All right, so what an idiot. Well, he confuses the refs, and the play he runs is illegal play anyway because 68 is not eligible, and he throws it to him. So this is what you're dealing with there. Anyway, so look for this game to go over. Chicago Green Bay is your free pick. Go over. 10-mile-an-hour winds. Trend on Green Bay to win the game, but not over-unders. Jacksonville, Tennessee, you got 9-mile-an-hour winds. Tennessee is 8-0 as a home dog. Lawrence against Tannehill, maybe, or it's going to be Beathard against Tannehill. We'll find that out tomorrow. Houston and Indy, tonight's game. Houston is not a good road favorite. Indy's not a good home dog. We got Stroud against Minshew. Over under 47, 222 defenses. Indy has the better offense. I like them as the dog here. Denver, Oakland. Nobody cares. No trend. Stidham against O'Connell. I'm betting on Oakland's defense. They got a 16 defense. Buffalo, Miami. Allen against Tagliabue. 11-mile-an-hour winds. Small chance of rain. A 25 defense for Miami, and you got Waddle out. It doesn't matter. And Mozart, they got him replaced with Acne. So I like Acne better anyway. The A&M running back's very good. And I like Allen better than Tag, and I don't like Allen at all anyway. But Miami has no defense, so let's get a lot of points in this game. The Jets in New England, Simeon against Zappi. We've got 13-mile-an-hour winds and a light snow, not 6 to 12 inches. 24 defense in the Jets, which is surprising, against the 17 with New England. Zappi, all we need is it's a 30 over-under is 24 points, and we don't have 15 feet of snow, and we don't have a 100-mile-an-hour wind here. So I'm loving the over 24 with Zappi. Thank you. Who's hit me up? Daria? Anyway, so I don't. New England probably wins. It's Belichick's last game in New England. Does anybody give a fuck? It's more important when Brady stepped away, and then you could really. It's like the curtain. They pulled the curtain back for the Wizard of Oz, and you can see there's just some guy back there. Brady leaves, and all of a sudden you see Belichick, and he sucks. This was a great coach because he didn't win 6 Super Bowls. Brady won 6 Super Bowls. All right, so I don't care that it's I'm not betting New England because it's Belichick's last game. I'm betting the over because it's only 30 and Vegas is out of their fucking minds. They set the line based on 12 feet of snow and 100-mile-an-hour winds, and that's not happening. 13-mile-an-hour and very light snow. Atlanta, New Orleans playoff game. Heineken against Carr. Heineken's questionable, but so is Kamara. So I can't pull the string on this yet. I would like the game over if I get Kamara. Riddler, Heineken's the same. They both couldn't make all Big Ten teams, so I don't know there. Philly and the Giants. Hurts against Taylor. I do like Taylor. 9-mile-an-hour winds, not a problem. Philly 13-1 is a road favorite, and 5.5. And they pretty much, it's not a must win because if Dallas is up 38-0, Philly, what do? So I hope they don't get up 38-0 yet. Like let Philly play, then watch Dallas can get up, but. So Philly's got to play because if Dallas loses, but again, they're playing a high school team, so Dallas won't lose. Philly and the Giants are going to play, so we're looking for over 35. I love the overs in Philly. 28 defense against the 25 defense here. And with Taylor, they can at least score the Giants. Against this defense, anybody could score against it. Seattle and Arizona. The Green Bay game's the same time as Seattle. I think the Bears will have the lead in the Green Bay game, so I think Seattle can play. Their play against Arizona as a home dog is 12-1. So Arizona at home sucks, which is really unusual that they're the home dog and so bad. But you're dealing with the 28 defense against the 27 defense. This is just like the Philly game. Go over, my boys. KC, San Diego, no Mahomes, probably no Kelsey after long. I don't know why he'd be playing. Over under 36. KC with the big defense, 21. They don't score anyway, and you're going to get – I don't know who you're going to get. I haven't seen the KC quarterback, but we know Stick is San Diego's. Keenan Allen is out. Bosa's out. They don't give a fuck. They haven't given a fuck all year. This will be a 10-7 game, I think, at best. You saw how they played last week against Denver, 16-9. So I think you're in for the same treat. Rams and the Niners, they're sitting all their players over under a 40. So you can't look at a trend now because there is no trend for Darnold and Stenson Benson, I hope. I don't know who the quarterback's going to be, but I'm hoping it's Stenson because I think he's really good from Georgia. So, again, this is an under where you basically have no players. You don't have Mahomes, Casey's, and where are you going to get points from? You can't get points from Mahomes now. You're going to get points from the backup, and the same thing with the Rams, Niners. Look for no points there. Dallas, Washington, it's all Dallas. 13, cut it to 7. 34-7 Dallas. They'll kill them. And you got 5-mile-an-hour winds or 15-mile-an-hour winds. Play against Washington is 28-5. And the big teaser trend on Dallas, which you can use because you have Prescott. Look for Dallas, big here. Tampa Bay, Carolina, 14-mile-an-hour winds. I like Tampa here. Carolina is just so bad, and they are 16-0 bet against in a teaser this year. You can't get any better than 16-0. Washington's 15-1. They're coming up the rear. And Pitt, Baltimore tonight, you got 16-mile-an-hour winds and rain. Means you got an under. Rudolph against Huntley. Lamar doesn't like to get wet, I guess. So big mistake by Baltimore resting Lamar. It's going to come back to haunt them in 2 weeks. When they're going to go, who are they going to play? Buffalo or Miami or, Kansas City. They're fucked anyway by resting. I don't know that Lamar could win the game, but they're fucked. See, what I don't understand, so Lamar looks good against a team with no defense, Miami. All of a sudden, he's the greatest quarterback that ever lived because he lit up a weak Miami team. I mean, this is what's insane. How is he again? Like, he lost against Cleveland, and whoever he lost to is New Orleans or whatever. So, you can't look at him having a big game against a weak defense and saying how good he is. That's why Caleb was. Look at Prime Jr. He had a first game. He fought those for 500 yards against TCU. Oh, he's the Heisman Trophy winner. Yeah, and then where was he against Oregon? Yeah, he threw for 125 and 4 picks. Okay, maybe he's not the best quarterback in the world. So I would judge Lamar on the whole scope, not just a weak Miami defense. I had the game over. It was over. No, I had Baltimore -3 because of the injuries. And this time I'm taking Buffalo over. It's only 42. Teaser trends: Minnesota 14-2. Tampa, LA. Well, forget LA. Tampa and Dallas and New England and Oakland are all 13-3 in a teaser this year. Play against Carolina 16-0. Washington 15-1. Seattle and KC 14-2. Arizona, Tennessee, San Diego 13-3. So bet against those teams. So you can see Carolina, you can't get any easier than 16-0. I mean, if you're looking for a trend or anything, I don't. And Tampa has to win the game to get into the playoffs. Okay, Mayfield's a little. Well, they'll run the ball. They got a good defense. They'll score on pick sixes. But Young doesn't give you anything. He's terrible. So that's it. Michigan, Washington. Michigan 4.5, 56. So you basically have the better team as the dog, Washington. They're both A teams. Michigan with the 22 defense, Washington the 24. I adjusted Michigan's defense to the only games that actually played: Ohio State, Penn State, and Alabama. And in those three, they averaged 22. Ohio State put up 24 on them, and Alabama put up 20, and Penn State was 17. And these are against weak to average quarterbacks. Ohio State's quarterback so bad he transferred. Alabama's quarterback is not going to be around next year. They got a 5-star apparently next year. And he wasn't a good quarterback. See, he's got Lamar-itis, right? Oh, I can run the ball, but when I need to throw to win, I can't. And then he turns it over. And that's what Lamar does. So they haven't faced a guy like Penix. And so when I look at the three teams that are decent that they played, and you can't compare what Washington played to what Michigan played. Again, Michigan with a weak schedule, and they somehow are number one. They don't deserve it. And here's Washington. Well, we beat Oregon twice and Arizona. And by the way, we beat Utah and UCLA and USC and Oregon State and Washington State, who were pretty good. And now we beat Texas. Okay, they beat, 8 good teams. And teams like UCLA and Arizona have very strong defenses. So you beat, what was UCLA's defense? UCLA was an 18 defense. So they beat UCLA in 18 defense, and then Oregon's twice at 17. Okay, so you can't say Michigan's got a 10 defense because, again, they played Nebraska and Minnesota and Maryland and Rutgers and all these shit teams. So they're being rewarded for having a shit schedule, and the line makers totally fucked up, making Michigan the favorite here. They are not going to stop Penix. There is no fucking way. This game will be 36-31, just like they like to do against Texas, against Oregon twice, and they're going to do it against Michigan. They will not stop. They will not be under 30 points, Washington. I'm not sure J.J. McCarthy and company can get 36 on Washington. You don't think Washington's got a good defense? Okay. 37-31 over Texas. They might not have a great defense like Oregon, but they got a great offense and they got a great coach. I would give the coaching matchup to Washington. I would give the quarterback by a mile to Washington. The defense to Michigan. The running game is even if Washington's guy is okay. He ran for 1,200 yards. Michigan's guy ran for 1,100. So I don't want to hear that. Yeah, they got a good offensive line against Rutgers and Nebraska. No. So I'm not buying. I don't smell what they're cooking here, Bobby. I watched it in 10.5 and over 49 is a fucking joke. I would never play Michigan +1, nor would I go under. Never. And Alex thinks they're going to just run the ball down their throat, and I just agree with them. Yeah, I'm sure Oregon thought the same thing, and I'm sure Texas thought the same thing. And by the way, they both played 35-31, 36-31 games, and Washington won. Washington will win this game because they've got the quarterback play. So that's your football. Again, today, Baltimore Pitt going under because of the rain and the wind, 17-mile-an-hour winds and rain, and you got no Lamar, and they're not playing Miami, by the way. See, this is the other thing, and this is the thing that I press the most on, is they're not playing Miami again. This game, and it's not in sunny Miami, and half Miami's defense is out. This time you're playing Pittsburgh, and you lost to Pittsburgh 16-10 in the first game. So you're playing a team that got your number. You're playing twice a year. They know all your bullshit. Good luck scoring on them. Anyway, if it was a dry day. So you're playing defense, two very strong defense, 18 and a 20. And you just don't what are you going to do? You have this is the point that I must do, and I do it in poker. I don't care that I had pocket aces last hand. This is this hand. I got 3-9 offsuit. I'm out. Same thing in craps. The guy throws a 6, then he throws another 6. Okay, I might play the 6, but we know that 7's coming. So, the only time I really like streaks are in roulette and back rack, where red, that can happen, and back rack, player, or bank. But it's more of a streaky game. But this to me is poker, right? I got aces last hand, and then I got 3-6 offsuit. So now what do I do? Okay, my last hand was 3-6 offsuit, and then all of a sudden aces hit you. So that's what football is. You can't look at last week and go, oh, Baltimore put up a 60 on Miami and think they're going to put up 60, but yet that's what the line's saying. So, this game's in Baltimore. I don't think Pitt's going to win. Lamar is irrelevant. He's not that good. A lot of it's the system, as you'll see, but again, it was because they played Miami. Okay, yes, they beat San Francisco. Let's give them credit for that. What was that score? A couple weeks ago. 33-19 against Frisco. Okay, give them points for that. That makes more sense, but that was 33-19. Look at now you've got Lamar out and you've got rain and wind. So I think they'll be lucky to hit 20. Pitt, I'm not buying Pitt as a road favorite in Baltimore, and Baltimore's going to lay down. Be careful here. I took the under because the wind and the rain and the defenses. Forget Lamar there or not, I'd still go under with Lamar. He's no Mahomes and he's no Burrow. Sorry, guys. And then the next game is Houston-Indy tonight. Why is Houston favored at Indy? Makes no sense. Indy, the key to this game is Indy beat Oakland last week 23-20, and Oakland with a very strong defense of 16, much stronger than Houston's 22, and Max Crosby. And Houston doesn't have a Max Crosby. So if Indy can score 23 on Max Crosby, then they should score mid-20s on Houston. Now, will Houston win the game? Maybe 24-23, but I'm taking the home dog here because I got a fucking team that is at home, which is always beneficial, and they beat I like how guys are poo-pooing the week 2 game. Yeah, Indy beat them week 2, well, that's the point, and they beat them in Houston. That's what you look at as the matchup. So, yeah, Pitt beat Baltimore 16-10. Okay, and that was week 2 or 3. So I see an under there, but I don't think Pitt can win, but especially with Rudolph. But here with Indy Houston, you got Minshew and Stroud. Minshew's much better than Stroud. You're fooling yourself into believing an Ohio State quarterback's any good. So we will see. My guess is he chokes tonight. Minshew played in big games. I like Minshew better, and I think Indy is a home dog. In these type of games, when you get into like playoff games, you got to take the dog. We've done that 5 times this year. We had Oklahoma, Texas, Washington, Oregon twice, teased the dog, and you won. I mean, that's exactly what you are looking for. And Indy's more of an over team, but they're gonna score on Houston. And again, it's now this game's in a dome, so it's not going to be a weather game. But I got to take the points. I got 7.5 already, and you're going to tell me Houston's better than Indy? Really? That's why they're both 9 and 7? Okay. All right, so that's today's game. We'll be on tomorrow morning with tomorrow. Now I want to get to some Egon economics. If everybody, any other questions or comments on football? I think I've covered everything. Free plays, the Bears over the Packers in an over game. Bet it. A lot of points. Fields. Green Bay doesn't have a defense. Love will score something. Green Bay probably wins, or Chicago probably wins the game. And then I just gave you the Baltimore pit under and the Indy home dog. Those are my bets. So very happy I heard from Daria today. It kills me when I don't hear from her for 4 days. I'm like, what the fuck, are you in prison or what? All right. We are going to Egon of Egonology. So I found this video on Egon 6 hours ago. When I saw it, I'll cut to the chase. Very good. My gold people will love it. It's good on economics. I will explain what they don't understand because they still don't understand. They'll say, well, gold was this and now it's this. Dude, it's still price fixed. You can't look at it from the price and then try to get any type of analysis out of it. All right. So we're going to open it up.
Anywhere in the world. And that could be events that could paralyze the world economy and the market. But no one, the stock markets are certainly not looking at that. And looking at the stock markets, it's just this euphoria after the Powell indication of rate cuts coming. Yeah. My view, I think these rate cuts are very temporary. They might last a few months, or the lower rates that we've seen recently might actually be finished. I believe still that the long-term risks in the world, because let's face it, US T-bonds are worthless, and treasuries, and inflation is not finished at all. So those two elements will make, in my view, bonds go down and rates go up sometime during 2024, whether it's the beginning or the end. So, that's the background we have. So stock market euphoria, I think, is now coming to an end. I think we could turn any time, and I could see major events on the downside. Whether it starts this month or whether it starts in a few months, I could see stock markets falling very, very viciously in this coming year. It's a bubble. It's a massive bubble, and a bubble of proportions that we haven't seen ever before. So, and therefore, you have risk in market, you have risk in interest rates, you have risk. Currencies will continue down, of course, and you have risk in stock markets. So that's my brief summary. Not a pretty one, but we are here to protect ourselves, and of course we are always looking at gold as the best protection. So how do you see all of this evolving, Matt, in the next few months?
So that's what we are telling you, or what I tell you, because you have the inflation. So what's happening now is people are kind of realizing the banks are in trouble, or I got to get my money out of the bank, but they don't know why. And they don't know what to do. So they call up the Attack on Wall Street stockbroker guy, and they ask him, what's he going to do? And he's putting us in real estate trusts and stocks. So because nobody knows what to do and they're not recommended to buy gold, they don't buy gold. They put their money in the stock market. That's why stocks are so high, because people have all this money. And as I tell you time and time again, it's worthless. Egon just told you it's worthless, but we'll get to more Egon. So you've got to get your money out of the bank before it collapses, and the only way to go, they're telling you, is stocks. I tell you gold and silver. And the stock market, so everybody's putting their money in the stocks, and it's about to collapse because what I told you yesterday, $125 trillion of foreign investment in the U.S. is about to leave because as they realize what's going on, or maybe they want to buy the gold-backed currency that the BRICS are offering. Either way, they're going to be out of gold. They're going to be they're going to be in the market, out of the banks, and the market is going to crash. So be aware of that. And I don't want anybody to get Madoff. Oh, I didn't know the market was going to crash. I didn't know my dollar was worthless. I didn't know the Titanic was sinking. I know we hit the iceberg and I saw all the water coming in, but I didn't know it. I don't want to hear that from anybody. You are being told buy gold and silver. I tell you that. I buy it. I have gold and silver, so I tuck my money where my mouth is. I don't want to hear, oh, I lost 200 grand in the bank. Then, what are you doing? Why are you leaving it in the bank? I'm scared if I own gold or silver. Well, fuck it, you can go to the back to this. I go to the gold store 5 miles away. It's a jewelry store. He's got the gold and silver. I show it to you. And if I want to sell it, I go back there and he hands me whatever spot is, 2,000, 2,100, boom. That's what he gives me for it in 20 seconds. Then I have money. So if I take all my money and put it in gold and silver and I say, you know what, I made a mistake. I want more money. Just take a few ounces back, get your money. It's very simple. But if you leave your money in dollars, it's very simple. You won't have any. It'll be worthless because it already is. So that's what you've got to realize. You cannot make a bad move by buying gold and silver. If you need money, you go back and he gives you money back for it. There's no risk. The risk is keeping your money in dollars or in the stock market or in bonds or in the banking system. It's all a Ponzi scheme. The whole thing for the whole world is a Ponzi scheme. We're printing you money and you're stupid enough to believe it's got a value, which it doesn't. I'm going to buy stocks with it. I certainly don't want to buy bonds. I certainly don't want to buy real estate trust. What am I going to, how do I make money? See, this is the thing. They're turning everybody into entrepreneurs, but can we all be entrepreneurs? Well, if you got a master's in finance and economics, like the professor here, then you can do it. If you got a science degree, you're a lawyer, you're a doctor, you work as at a restaurant or whatever you are, you're probably not set up to be an entrepreneur. So you don't know what to do with your money. And now it's who do you trust, the Joker or Batman? I mean, at the end of the day, who are you going to trust with your money? You got to trust yourself, but you don't know. And that's the problem. So you go, my guy said to buy stocks. My guy told me to be in the real estate trust. He promised 8%, and oops, it's worthless. And then I'm going to get killed by the Wall Street guy. So that's what you have. So be careful. All right, let's. I don't know if we want to listen to Bubblehead. Maybe a minute.
Yeah, I mean, Egon, it's not a pretty picture. People would say it's just bearish or talking a gold book scenario, but it's reality. And I think the gap between fantasy and fiction isn't just...
This guy's not as good as Egon, so I don't want to listen to him too much.
It's becoming more and more clear to everyone. This fantasy of a resilient market, markets aren't resilient, they're Pavlovian. They go up or down.
I don't know what that
means.
Whether
the Fed is hawkish or dovish. So we have a very centralized...
I don't like that talk.
The carrot of a potential rate cut throughout 2023 made markets chase that promise. And then, as you said,
policy. Let's go to the meat of the discussion. Okay.
Coldly clear. It's becoming more and more, hopefully more and more obvious to more and more investors, although they'll always wait and chase these Pavlovian markets first for the opportunity cost. But if you're thinking about generational wealth, you've got to think about things like precious metals. I think the why gold question we've given so much attention to, and we will continue to, because you can't be repeated enough. I think another thing that you were very prescient on that we need to make more obvious in the coming months, and we've talked about this in the past, is not just why gold, but where and how. Obviously, the how is not in a commercial bank and not in paper gold for all the reasons we've discussed in the past, and we'll discuss more. Of course, also jurisdiction matters in a world that's fractured. What part of the world outside of your own zip code do you store the gold? And these are things that, in the coming months, as we work and as we travel and as we speak to viewers and as we write our articles, these things have to become more and more obvious to sophisticated investors, because you need to have direct ownership. You need to have segregated, allocated accounts. It needs to be outside of banks that are completely dysfunctional. It needs to be in safe jurisdictions, despite a world that is not safe anywhere. In some ways, you can find pros and cons. And just to kind of foreshadow for others, in the next couple of weeks, we will be releasing our new website, which takes a very strong look at these other questions beyond just why gold, looking at different jurisdictions, looking at the risks, the objective, that's, scary, gloom and doom, the objective risks of holding gold in a commercial bank or in an ETF, and the objective risks of which jurisdictions you choose, despite no one being the best. There are certainly relatively better jurisdictions. We're going to have a very
wealth preservation, and there is time when the gold is wealth enhancement, and there are times when it's both. But what people don't realize, we started with gold. Okay, we started in a major way in around between 2000 and 2002 at $300. And since then, gold is up 7-8 times in virtually all
Paper
major
gold
currencies, and a lot more in the weak currencies. So, you're looking at already in the last 20 years or so, a major wealth enhancement and a move that is bigger than in most other asset markets, including stocks. But as I see it, that is just the beginning. And I think right now we're going to see the need for gold as wealth protection being greater than ever. Investors have not realized that yet, man. But they will during this year, and it'll take them time. But people will enter the gold market, and I just wish that they take advantage of the opportunity now, which is still, around the 2000 level, because gold is over time going to go a lot higher than that. And I see in the next few years, gold as not, as I said, wealth protection, but also the best instrument for wealth enhancement. So you have the most fantastic protection in physical gold stored in, the most fantastic vaults. If you take our example, we have one vault in the Swiss Alps, that's for bigger investors, but still it's the safest vault in the world, in the mountain. And so people should think about now seriously holding gold as wealth protection. And also, as I said, which is so important to remember, because most people want to make money, but that's not why you hold gold. Not at all. You hold it to protect against losing a lot of money, which most people will do in the next few years in virtually all asset markets. But as I said, on top of that, this is going to be a period when gold will be used both as wealth enhancement and wealth protection. So it's the most wonderful asset to hold right now, and people should clearly take heed of this and buy gold not when it's 2,500 or 3,000, whatever levels of what the next levels are. You should think about buying it now, because, as I said, your other assets are going to start falling rapidly in the next few months and in the next few years. So I think 2024 will be an interesting market if you're prepared for major events. That will be negative, most of them, but if you're protected, at least you know that you're going to lose less money than most people. Yeah. And as I always say, Matt, we would have some tough times there, some very tough times. At the end of the day, we can't change the direction of the world and geopolitical situation, but we can look after our family and our friends, and I think that's will be a very important part of our lives in the coming years. So people should think about that.
That's why when Luke asked me, how much should I have? Hey, the real D, good morning. That's my point. You're going to have your girlfriends, you're going to have your kids, your parents, your family, and you're going to have to take care of them. So when Luke says, how much money do I need? How much gold and silver? Well, you got to take all that into consideration. And that's why when I go meet Jenna, I give her some gold, although she doesn't understand it yet, but I'm going to send her this clip. And then she'll realize, oh, fuck, yeah, now I understand what you're trying to do for me. But that's what I've been screaming about for 2 years now, that's where I get 50,000 an ounce, because it's not priced right. It's priced at paper derivative price, which the government's trying to keep down, and it won't be able to, as all of this is breaking and the banks are going under and the stock market's going to collapse. There's no way they'll be able to keep the gold price down, because there's no other option. As I told the gal at Swim, there is no other option. All the rich guys, they'll know what to do. There is nothing to do. You either are in gold and silver or you're fucked. Even if you're in a Mantle card or the Mahomes card or the Brady card or the Michael Jordan or the Rolex, okay, you'll do okay in those assets, but they're not money, and they've already gone up. The Montana card's $125,000. Where's it going to go? All right. But gold at 2,000's got a long way to run. And once it gets off of paper and into physical, and we get a physical price on it, it's at least 50,000. That's right. And then it won't even be priced in dollars, because the dollar's going. You keep inflating it, it's worthless. So that's what Egon's saying when he's saying not only does it give you protection, it also gives you growth. It also gives you a return. And that's what nobody sees but us. And that's what I preach. So when I tell you 50,000 and you're going, yeah, bullshit, it's a 2. Well, yeah, it's in 2 in paper, but I'm not talking paper price. I'm talking physical price. And as he said, you don't want to be in half the shit you're in. You don't want to be in ETFs. You don't want to be in gold stocks. You don't want to be in the stock market at all. You don't want to be in the bank. You don't want to have your gold in the safety deposit box at the bank, because when the bank closes, you're not getting in. Wait a minute, I got 100 ounces of gold in your safety deposit box. You ain't getting in. So do not put your gold in the safety deposit box at the bank. Buy a fucking safe and put it in your house and bury it under, blankets or in the freezer or somewhere. Do not. You got to outthink everybody, but I don't think the odds of them breaking into your house are very slim. They're not going to go after your house because they don't think anything. They don't think you have anything in here anyway. So the Bill Gates house, the house with the gates, that's a different story. But you don't want just a normal little house. You're fine with the safe, and you don't want it in anything to do with a bank. And you certainly don't want your money in the bank, because it'll be worthless. So that's what I found this morning. So I was so excited. And then Egon kind of nails it, because Bobby and Luke keep going, when's the price going up? Well, there you go. 25, 3,000 on its way to 20, on its way to 50. And yeah, silver's right there with it. Silver, 2,000 to 5,000. So don't think silver's 25 is never going to go higher than 25. Not going to happen. All right, a little more Egon, I think the 12-minute mark. Well, let's try the 12-minute mark. So understand it. What it's really about in plain English, as clear as I could make it, is if I was talking to a first grader. You can print dollars, and when you print, this is what happens. They go to zero. And you can't print gold. And so you can never inflate gold and lower the price. They're doing it with the paper, with the derivative. They're inflating the gold, but it's paper. It's not real. That's why you got to own physical. So if you own physical gold, you have the coins, as I show you, you can't lose. Nobody can tell you attack on Wall Street guy. Oh yeah, your 60,000 is worthless. And nobody can tell you Madoff people that, oh yeah, your 100 grand you have and Madoff is zero. If you have gold, nobody can tell you those two things. Nobody can tell you, oh, wow, your Apple stock's worthless. Oh, you just lost 80% of value in it, because you're not controlling that. It's out of your control. Gold is in your control. You buy it. You have the coin in your hand. You put it in your safe. You have control of it. Nobody can tell you it's worthless, because it can never be worthless. There's always a market. There's always demand. There's huge demand with central banks, because they realize, as we do, the foundation is you can never inflate it to zero. So therefore, gold can never be worthless, and it's an asset, and it's got nothing to do with money. I hate when people say that. It's got nothing to do with money. The Montana card's 125. The Brady card we look at is worth $4 million. It's got nothing to do with the inflation or not. It's got to do with supply and demand. It's got to do with free market economics. I put it out. Somebody wants it. Somebody pays me that price. That's what it's. They don't care about the dollar. And gold's the same way. It's an asset that is bidded and asked. And if people, there's not a lot of gold and there's a lot more buyers. And as the world starts collapsing, there'll be a hell of a lot more buyers. And just think about it. Buyers here, price there. What's going to happen? The price shoots up. And then you got the whole world who are now fucked over and made off because their dollars in Germany and in Britain and in Switzerland and Japan and China and Russia are all worthless. So you have all these people. So the demand is up to here. Well, fuck, I better buy gold. All these Russian oligarchs, the Russian mafia, the Chinese mafia, they all have money, and now it's worthless. What do you think they're going to do? They're going to run and buy gold. Well, most of the Russian mafia has, and the China mafia already have. That's why they got so much of it. The Italian mafia, all these mafias with all this money are not going to get fucked. They're going to get into gold too, which again, that creates the demand. So the demand's up here and the price is here. And the law of economics is that the price has to equal the demand. So it's going to be bid up, because if there's more people wanting to buy than there is supply, and there's only 250,000 tons, and China and Russia own 100,000 tons of it, there's not a lot of tonnage left to use. So therefore, there's much more demand. And as you start bringing the whole world into it, who need gold now, there's only a certain amount of people that can afford it, right? So my friend in Germany, she's crying, I can't afford gold. I agree with you. I should buy it, but I can't afford it. Then yes, I understand you can't do it. Then buy silver. And that's why silver will go up, because as people are trying to run into gold for safety, it'll just get too, it'll be 10,000 an ounce. They don't really have it. I'm talking about the average middle class person and the lower class. I mean, these lifeguards I talk to, I don't have any money. Well, you better find some because you're fucked. If you don't have money, how are you going to survive? So they'll realize precious metals is the out, and then they'll realize gold's too expensive, and everybody jumps into silver, and there's not that much silver out there either. So then it ends up being they've raised the price of silver because they can't afford the gold. But it's the same method. It's precious metals. It's limited. It is money, and it hasn't gone yet. That's why I like gold, because the Montana rookie card at 125 has already jumped to 125, and the Jordan rookie cards are already $1 million, and the Brady cards, they've already jumped, but gold hasn't yet. So you can get in on the ground floor and then let it go for the ride. You can't be brainwashed into thinking it has no value because the JP Morgan and the U.S. government want the price low to keep you in dollars so they can continue to fuck you over. They're fucking you. It's worthless. You're buying it, and what? You're holding it in the bank. You're investing it in stocks. It's in the real estate trust. Whatever it is you're doing with it, it's a scam. It doesn't have a value. The U.S. dollar is worthless. Gold isn't, and gold's value is not 2,000 an ounce. It's much, much higher, and that's what they won't tell you, and that's why I tell you, because I'm tired of people getting made off. All right, let's go a little more to Egon.
Why gold is continuing continually going up and to the right, having higher highs and lower lows, because the world simply doesn't trust the America of 1944 and Bretton Woods. And so, Egon, these things shouldn't even be debatable. But you've traded, lived, worked through a number of cycles, not just macros, but gold cycles at Matterhorn. I'm wondering, in the backdrop of all the fissures that you mentioned and that I've just kind of mentioned as well, does this seem uniquely compelling to you right now? The backdrops that we're seeing, the markets, the bond markets, the currency markets, the geopolitics. Is this cycle uniquely different than others you've seen in terms of its magnitude?
Well, that's a very interesting question. The gold moves in its own way. It doesn't move when we want it to move. It has these long cycles of moves up, and then they had also some vicious cycles of correction, like in the last 50.
See, this is the part they don't get. It's price fixed. They run derivatives on it. They're controlling the price, not the market. So this confuses me, is they don't get that. Oh, well, it doesn't run in cycles. It's how many derivatives does the government want to print to keep the price down? It's not the free market. It's not what it should be at. And when they don't get it, that frustrates me.
Years or so, we saw the up move from 35 to 850, and then up to 1900, and then but of course we also saw a move from 850 down. For 20 years down to 250 to 250.
That's because it was paper move.
Around 99, 2000. That's when we decided that this is the time to go into gold. But just look back again to all the things that you mentioned. And so we have this major.
The point of the gold, if this guy really knew what he was doing, would have been bought at $35. As soon as you took the dollars off of gold, and then all you had was dollars not backed by anything, they're all worthless. So in 1971, the dollar was worthless. So that's when you understand to buy gold, is when you're not backing the currencies, the fiat currencies, with anything. So Bretton Woods, 1940, the whole 1800s to 1913, we were using the gold system. We were the most profitable country ever in the history of life. Then 1913, we come on to this stupid Federal Reserve, and we get off of gold. And then in 1944, the war ends, and now we're on the gold standard till 1971. We're very prosperous. Then they get off of it. So as soon as you ever hear of a country getting off gold and not having a gold standard and printing their money, not walk, but run to the exits, the show's over, the dollar's gone. Look at Venezuela, look at all the countries. None of them have a gold standard. They're all worth zero. So you buy gold immediately, and they're going to kind of control it, and they're going to do their little COMEX bullshit. But at the end of the day, we could have been buying gold at $35 an ounce, and this 2000 is not a real price either. Again, we're looking for the physical price, and hopefully we get it very soon.
Event risk this year, I think. This geopolitical one, that could be anything, and of course, in relation to the wars that we see, the risk of major terrorism, I think, is massive. The risk of civil war or problems between the immigrants and more right-wing parties coming up, and even Nazi parties.
Left-wing.
That could be a major problem. And then we of course have the market risks, as we said, stock market, bond market, currency market, the dollar. So, these are all risks that will make people look at protection. Stock market has protected them so far. I think there'll be a shock coming this year in that area. But we went into gold around 2000 to 2002, and that of course was when gold was around $300. And that's when we saw real risks. Now we have had a few market drops since then. We've had the obviously the tech move down. And it happened just before that. The Nasdaq moved at around 99, 2000, and then we had of course, the great financial crisis, 69. But since then there's been so much debt created, so much money, and now we have this bubble that. So that is clearly something that people are going to realize what they're actually in the wrong markets, and that they will realize during 2024. It'll take some time, but nevertheless, so that's what I see as the major risk. But people also, we're seeing, as you mentioned, we're seeing the BRICS countries and the central banks of the BRICS countries buying gold consistently. But what is interesting is that gold is more or less at the highs now in most currencies. We're seeing a small correction now, but basically we are near the highs. And none of the funds, none of the ETFs are participating. So in the last move of gold of a few $100s, investors are not taking part in this. Yes, of course, there are some small investors buying gold. But the major move is really being run by the central banks of the BRIC countries, which is very interesting. So we haven't seen the real buying coming yet, Matt, nor from investors in the West, nor from funds in the West, nor from institutions in the West. And I think we're going to see that in this year starting in earnest. Gold is always supported by central banks, Western and Eastern, especially Western, because the Western central banks are the ones who are continuously destroying the value of the currency. And that's why gold measured in paper money always goes up, of course. And this is why it's such a wonderful investment and such a wonderful hedge against all risks in the market, whether it's currency risk, stock market risk, or bond risk. And we know that now, you're talking about now US debt is up, to 34 trillion now. And it's, I said when Trump was elected that he would go to, within the next 8 years after he was elected, that he would go from 20 trillion to 40. Well, where 8 years is January, a year from now. I wouldn't be surprised to see that. We're going to have some major events in the U.S., whether it's banking collapses or just major deficits. That is going to, the debt's going to shoot up from 34 to near 40 trillion. I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be whether we reach there or not. It doesn't matter, but we will be near. And you can imagine higher interest rates, which I see on top of a 35 to 40 trillion debt. That's the interest. The interest just expense of the U.S. government is going to be it's already in the first trillion, and that's going to escalate. So taking all of that into account, Matt, and then looking at gold. Gold is now poised for the next move up. We've had a consolidation at very high levels. We've hit this 2000, 2001 level, 3 times. We are now at the 4th time, and the 4th time is going to go through. Whether it goes through in January or February, it doesn't matter. It's going to go through, and then we'll see a very strong move. And again, it's not that the gold is moving up. It's just that it's reflecting what's happening in the world economy, and to currencies, and to deficits, and to increasing debt. And all of that will be, and then investors, fear is going to come into the market, whether that's fear from geopolitical events or fear from bond market events or fear from currencies dropping. That fear is going to mean that people for the first time will see gold as the way that we have always looked at it, which is not an investment, but an asset you must have to protect yourself against the destruction of your wealth. For pure proper wealth preservation. So that's the next phase, which is now starting, Matt, and that will be major. So how do you see yourself, the next phase of this, Matt?
No, I mean, as usual, we're kind of mirror images of our views. And again, it's absolutely ironic and yet so critical to remember. When you started this company decades ago on the enterprise and the investment, it wasn't just the very, very important question of why gold, because of the political risk, the banking risk, the bond. Obviously, the how is not in a commercial bank and not in paper gold for all the reasons we've discussed in the past, and we'll discuss more. Of course, also jurisdiction matters. In a world that's fractured, what part of the world outside of your own zip code do you store them?
All right, we started. So you can see what's happening. There's just these wars and the inflation, the money supply inflating, lowering the value of the money, period, equals inflation. And with that said, that's what you got. You buy gold because they can't inflate it, and it is real money. And that's, nobody understands gold's real money. Nobody understands that the dollar is worthless, or the euro, or the Swiss franc. Nobody gets that. They just say, oh, here's money. This is what I make. This is what I use to spend. No question. That's the medium of exchange of it, but nobody understands it's really worthless. And as more and more people begin to discover that, more and more people, all of a sudden you're Madoff. Oh, I got Madoff. I'm fine. Yeah. Oh, Madoff went to jail, and your $50,000 or $100,000 or $1 million that you haven't made off is now worthless. Oh, really? I'm fucked. Oh, okay. And that's why I bring up these movies as examples, because this is what's happening. I mean, this is what's going to happen to you, and I don't want it to happen to you, but this is your way out. I'm giving you the way out. The way out is gold, and there is no risk. People don't understand. Oh, I'll buy Bitcoin. I'll buy anything but gold. Oh, not gold. Bitcoin. Gold's, doesn't go up. Man, do you think the U.S. dollar goes up? Do you think this has ever gone up in value? Right? Do you think this has a value? Do you think this ever goes up? Do you think, oh, I got $5, €5 now, I can buy 2 coffees with it? Or this isn't even worth 1% of the dollar. Do you think this ever goes up in value? Yeah, to your mind. So you're holding dollars that never go up in value, and you're bitching about gold, which is about to go through the roof, which has gone from $35 to $2,000. So pretty sure that's gone up, and that's not real because that's derivative gold, not physical. So that's the point that you really need to understand is, does my dollar ever go up? No, I got to go invest it in stocks and hope that Bill Gates' Microsoft, if you're even paying attention to it, has a value, which it probably, it does, but it's all valued in dollars. As people start realizing we're in a recession, which we are. So what's happening is the government's lying to us. Geez, that's a shocker. Oh, we're not in a recession. Yes, we are. Oh, inflation's down. No, it's not. Inflation is still through the roof. So they're lying to you, and you believe it because it's the government, because they didn't lie to us about 9/11 or going to the moon or anything they say is everything's a lie, and they're run by the banks, run the government. So the money's worthless. So yes, you can go to Kroger's and buy hamburgers and buy milk and go to the restaurants, and they will take it, but it's monopoly money. So basically they're taking monopoly money and accepting it because they have to, because the government forces them to. So you go to the groceries, you go to a steakhouse, and you pay with this shit, and they have to take it. Oh, yeah, it's $100. Okay. The whole game is absolutely absurd, but we're not going to play that game. We're going to play our game, which is gold. And we're going to watch the gold price go to the moon and the silver price, because as people get out of the dollar, realizing it's worthless, there's only one place to go, and that's gold. So that's the bottom line, because Stone Cold's telling me to. So that's what you have to understand. and it's all over the world, which is the problem. If it was just the U.S., okay, but because it's the whole world, the U.S. can't control it. They can't help it. They're the worst at it. Swiss francs, you'd have to buy rubles, you'd have to buy dollars, and then the dollars you would buy the Swiss francs with. And Putin doesn't like that, so he wants to get rid of the middleman. He wants to get rid of the U.S. dollar in the middle and replace it with gold. So now I got rubles, I buy gold, and I buy gold to buy Swiss francs or buy yuan or whatever. So they're going to work gold in, which is going to make the value go through the roof. Everybody will realize, and I know the Russians and Chinese already have, gold's the only way out. It's the only real money. And by the way, it's extremely limited. It's not a lot out there. And there's a lot more people wanting it than there is gold there. As you said, you can get it at 2,000 now, and then it's going to go to 2,500 3 years ahead of the curve. I've been telling this for 3 years before I went to Alabama. And here it goes. And it's about to go through the roof. So this is what you've got to look forward thinking, right? You've got to be able to think fifth dimensionally, right? Which is basically understanding that the boat hit the iceberg. You've got to think ahead then. Okay, what happens? Oh, the water comes in the boat and then the boat sinks. The dollar's worthless. So what's going to happen? Well, people will start realizing it. And the only way out is gold, and then gold goes through the roof. So we're kind of in between stages right now. It's worthless, but people haven't figured out that gold's the only answer, except for us. So if gold's the only answer, buy your fucking gold. Now, don't wait for the boat to sink. You know the boat's sinking. You know the dollar's worthless. You know the only answer is gold, and you know gold's going to go through the roof. You have no choice. And silver, too. Silver will go because gold will get so expensive that the only thing left is silver, but it is real money. And they're fighting that because they want to use it as an industrial metal for car batteries and solar panels. And if the price goes to 2,000 an ounce, they're all fucked because it'll blow their profit margin and they won't be able to sell it. So that's why they're keeping it down for the industrial metal, but it's still a money and it's a dual. And that's why silver's having a little harder time going up, but it will. And these people are fucked. I worked at Toyota, and first day there, I'm the professor. I'm teaching economics. I said, you better buy a bunch of silver because you're not going to be able to afford it soon. It's already done, and it's 25 an ounce going to 2,000. You won't be able to buy it. And what I heard is, I'm sure headquarters at Toyota knows all this, and they're probably preparing for it. And I'm going, I bet they're not, because very few people can even understand the concept, more or less understand what I just explained. So I don't think the Japanese have a fucking clue about silver. And this is, as soon as I heard that, I would have quit. I should have quit. But they kind of tied my hands by moving me down there. I had to be there 2 years, which I really didn't like. I don't like being controlled, obviously. So that's what we understand. We do it in football. We figure out ways to pick games better. We look at the Washington-Michigan matchup. We look at the pro matchup. And we look and we figured out things. We figured out the defense is the key. The quarterback, Mahomes isn't playing. I don't think they'll score as much as when he is playing. Lamar's out today. I don't think they're going to score as much with Lamar out as Huntley against the Steeler defense. And so that's what you start looking at is ways to figure out football like we figured out the dollar. The dollar we had to figure out. Nobody knows it. Nobody understands it. You have to figure out why gold at 2,000 an ounce. Once you can understand it's being held down by the paper derivative market and it won't last and it's going to be blown up and we're going to get a physical price, which is at least 10 times higher. I mean, it should be a $20,000 an ounce. Once we figure all that out, it makes it easier. So now that's And that's how then Stoic enters it. And that's what Stoic is. You figure things out. Daria hadn't talked to me in 4 days. So I said, what the fuck? I said, where are you? Why aren't you talking to me? And then today she finally, I was working. Well, tell me you're working. She did tell me she was working Tuesday and Wednesday, but I'm still like, okay, I get it. But tell me, just give me I'm at work. Have a nice day. That's all I need. Okay, fine. She's working. I can live with that. But I asked the question, I dug in, and then today we had a good conversation. I don't think she'll do that again, but the way we're going, I'm not worried about it, right? But you dig into things. Why? What is, and I'm used to common, okay, in the morning I go swim and I do this and, I cook, and you just keep doing that. You get a routine. And when something gets out of balance with the routine, you dig into it. Why? Wait a minute, so you're looking at a game, maybe it's, the Jets snooing, all of a sudden the Jets score 30 points tomorrow. What happened there? Who quarterbacked? Or you're expecting Kansas City with Mahomes to score 30 and they score 5 and you go, did Mahomes play? Like that's what I did that in college a lot. I'm expecting a big score and it's 10-0. And I'm like, did the quarterback play? Was there a bunch of turnovers? What the fuck happened in that? And so you're analyzing the game to figure out what it didn't come, what should have happened. And the differences with the dollar and gold is you've got to figure out why gold's cheap, and you realize it's not because of the free market. And then you realize that inflation destroys the dollar value to zero. Basically, we call it purchasing power, which means if I go to the grocery store, can I buy the same with the $100 today as I could have 5 years ago? And the answer is no. Like I said, so you're in Germany with this, you buy a cup of coffee. 5 years ago, you could have bought 2 or 3 cups of coffee. I can't buy as much with the dollar now. Why? Because they print it. They're printing and printing and printing is why it's not worth anything. It's not that coffees went up in price. That's the scam they'll try to tell you. It's not us. It's not we're printing the money. It's Coca-Cola raising their prices. It's all these evil. Toyota raised their price. GM, Ford. It's not us. Oh, the banks are raising the interest rates. It's not. Well, it's all because of the inflation. Interest rates go up, as I've taught you several times, is because if I loan you money, I'm going to get paid back in inflated dollars, so I need to charge an interest rate for it. If you had gold, you would not have interest rates. Thered be no reason for it. You have interest rates because of the inflation, because of the money printing. But because you have a bunch of criminals running the country, all the countries, because thanks to George Soros, they all want to steal the money, and therefore what they do is print, and they keep it. A la Money Heist, right? They the first one they printed all the money, and the second one they said, "Fuck it, we'll just take the gold." So maybe it wasn't even worth them getting the money because it's all worthless. But that's what you're looking at, and you're trying to figure out what you're trying to figure everything out. Why did the girl smile at me but then didn't go out with me? If you have a boyfriend, why are you smiling at me? Or do you want me to, so all the actions, your reaction. I'm at poker. Why did the guy make this big bet? That's the really hard part. You're in, you got 2 pair, and the guy makes a $500 bet. He goes all in. Why did he go all in? And that's when you start analyzing why did he go all in? Did he go all in as a bluff because he wants me to fold because he doesn't have anything? Because if he really had 4 aces, he would not go all in. He would want me to call. Think about when you have it. I got 4 of a kind. I got a royal flush. I don't want to make a big bet. I want to bet enough that you'll call me. And an all-in bet, you're not calling me. The only reason you're calling me is you got a full house and I'm fucked. And that's really the problem. So so everything's being stoic and figuring things out. People, Why did this job work and this one not? Why did I not like this job or I like that one? Oh, it's usually the manager. Why didn't I like the manager? Because I don't like a lot of people. People give me problems because most of them are not at my level, and it's very hard for me to work for an idiot. So that's what you're trying to do in everything, right? Crap, Stoic, poker, gambling, money, gold, football. You're always trying to get expected outcomes. And when you don't, you need to ask, why didn't I? And in football, oh, there was an injury. Oh, they went for it on fourth down 5 times. Oh, there was 4 interceptions. That's why they didn't score. And that's really what you're looking for is that thing to understand. And then you hope you get an honest game the next game where the quarterback doesn't throw 4 interceptions. Didn't the quarterback, is it a fixed game? Did he throw them on purpose, as we've been told, like Joe Namath in the day, gambled and he would bet again? Now, I don't understand that. He was making $400,000 a year. Now, in 1965, 66, that was a lot of money. That was like $4 million. I don't think he would be betting against them. You'd have to pay him a whole lot of money. He was making $400,000 to do it. But that shows you inflation. Joe Namath makes $400,000 in 1966, right? Great quarterback. But now they come out and they're making, now it's $40 million for these quarterbacks, and Joe Namath took 400,000. That's what inflation is. So the value of the dollar, 400,000, he could have bought 20 houses. Now he can't buy any, but now you get 40 million. But it's all relative. It's the same thing. 40 million now and 400,000 and 66 is the same amount. That's what nobody gets, right? Nope, that shows you how weak the dollar has gone, that now $40 million to Lamar is the same as 400,000 to Joe Namath, because that's how much the dollar's been inflated, where it takes 40 million to get to the same at 400,000. And that's it. Everything was cheap. Houses probably cost you $2,000 for a house, probably $1,000 for a car. Not even that, probably. But who had that money? I remember my allowance in the 60s was 16 cents. And I would take it and go buy hockey cards at the drugstore. You put the nickel into the thing, you slid it in, you pulled it out, and out of cards. But 16 cents was not a bad allowance when I was 5, 6 years old. But that's the difference. Now, I give like Daria $100 for her allowance, or Jenna. I mean, it's just funny that, and even that in Russia is worthless. It's, she can have a little bit. So they'll have a good second Christmas tomorrow because I sent her $100, but it's not like a lot. I mean, so they'll enjoy it, but it's not that much. But that's the problem. It's just very, people are blinded by them fucking our money up. And I don't know why we trust them. They've never told us the truth about anything ever. In the 30s, they fucked us over. The Great Depression was a joke. The stock market crashed in 1929, and 6 months later, it was back to where it was. So it wasn't, you didn't need to do anything for it. And that was because of inflation in the 1920s. So since the Federal Reserve comes in 1913, and the whole reason they want to print money is for war. So the defense contractors can make money selling arms and all this. And really the government can print money for wars and then steal money. And that's what this is all about. And it's just a fucked up system that shouldn't be there. I was watching something, Argentina elected a libertarian like me, Austrian economist, and the first thing he did was get rid of the central bank, and I loved it. Central bank should never be involved or created. It serves no purpose that's good. It just prints money and taxes you. And there is no need for it. You don't need, if you just stick with the gold standard, you don't need interest rates. You'll never have inflation. You'll never have unemployment. Everything will be stable. You know what? Gas is, 50 cents a gallon now, and it'll be 50 cents a gallon in 10 years if you're on the gold standard, because nothing will go up because it's all stable money. And the reason prices change now is because of the inflation. As I said, the coffee was $2, is now $5. Well, price of coffee didn't go up. The dollar went down. And that's what everybody misses, that point. They don't understand it's the dollar that's being printed, that's being devalued, that's causing all this. It is not the companies raising prices. It is the dollar losing value. But people, there is no, in gold, you see it. It's 2000, it's 2050, it's 2030. Like you're watching the price of gold, but where's the price of the dollar? There isn't one. So what do? They come out with the magic trick, David Copperfield. We're going to price the dollar versus the euro. What the fuck is that? That's such bullshit. And that's the problem. You don't see the value of the dollar like you see the value of gold. If you did, you'd never own the dollar. Oh, it's worth 1 cent now? This is why I do this, right? This is the value of the dollar. So if I had a whole dollar, it's worth 1 cent. That's the value of your dollar, 1 cent. Go find somebody who will do that. And you won't, except for me. Nobody understands it except for us. I mean, that's the whole point. It loses value. That's the problem when you print. But nobody will understand that. Oh, and then they use fancy terms. Oh, it's quantitative easing and quantitative tightening. And then people will try to say inflation's down because they raised interest rates. Well, I hate to break it to you, but interest rates do nothing about inflation. They are not a barrier on inflation. They slow the economy. So what they're trying to do is slow the economy because they're measuring inflation as prices. And if they slow the economy, the prices will come down because they won't be able to sell the goods. So if I can't sell my Canadian club at $100, I got to lower my price to 90. Inflation's down because the price came down. That's got nothing to do with it. It's you've inflated the money supply, and you're not deflating the money supply. So what the fuck you talking about? You could raise interest rates to 90%. It still wouldn't stop inflation. Maybe people would put their money in the bank and they could burn the money and then get the supply down, if that's their thinking. Or you could just fucking back it by gold and never have to worry about this shit. So they don't back it by gold because they want to print. They are a bunch of fucking criminals running the government, running the banks. And this is who gets, and a lot of them aren't even elected. Look at these bank guys. They're not elected. This JP Morgan guy, he's not elected. He runs JP Morgan, or he runs Chase or Wells Fargo. These guys aren't elected. They're just, and they're the ones control everything. I watched that Attack on Wall Street movie, and what does the guy say? We don't give a fuck about the people. We got to survive. And it's just a fucking joke. And in the movie, it's like, oh, well, Alan Greenspan went to work for this bank or this, investment house or something. So they go from the investment house to the government, and the government back to the investment house, and they control things with their buddies. And, oh, we need money, and let's bail us out. And, it's such a Madoff what should have happened in the Madoff, if I'm running the government, we would have printed money and paid everybody off. And anybody that made money, I would not have taken it from them. That they were blind to it. They're not the Ponzi scheme. Madoff's the Ponzi scheme. So if Madoff paid you $100,000, why would I take that back from you? I don't take, if you go to the casino and hit a $20,000 slot machine, I don't take that money from you. Why would I take it? And that's a bigger Ponzi scheme than Madoff. Why would I take your money back? And then to try to give the people that lost, no, the people that lost, I would have printed money and said, here. And by the way, Next time you don't know what the fuck somebody's doing, maybe you shouldn't be involved with him. But I'm not even sure I would have done that. I would have just said, well, all those people that bet on the 68 Baltimore to beat the Jets and Joe Namath and lost, too bad. They lost money, and that's how I would have viewed it, as gambling. But I wouldn't have taken, if you took the Jets in the Super Bowl and you won, I wouldn't take that money away from you and give it to the people who lost on the bet. It was a fixed Super Bowl. Earl Morrall threw 5 interceptions. He was paid off. The owner of the Colts bet on the Jets. He bet $1 million on the Jets. That was a fixed Super Bowl. Yeah, nobody who bet on Baltimore got their money back, and nobody who bet on the Jets got their money taken from them. Why is that different? Why would people come after the Madoff people? So you're in a Ponzi scheme that you may or may not know. I'm not part of the Ponzi. I gave them $100,000. If I knew it was a Ponzi scheme, I probably wouldn't have. I don't think people gave him money knowing it's a Ponzi scheme, getting the 10, 15%. And to assume that everybody knew is ridiculous. And people that are dead, you're going after them, and the guy's dead. What are you doing? So with that said, I don't know that you punish people that made money in the Ponzi scheme more than you punish people who play poker or play craps. Oh, I didn't know the 7 was going to come out and I was going to lose all my money. Can I get it back? Yeah, you know what? Yeah, Mr. JP Morgan, you didn't know about the 7. You lost $100,000. We're going to print $100,000 because the dice 7'd out on you. What kind of fucking crap is that? That's just bullshit. That doesn't make any sense. That's what gambling is, and you gamble on Madoff. It's the same thing as gambling on craps. You made money and he died, or he got to jail and he lost it all. You bet on him, so it's like betting on Madoff is going to avoid the collapse and keep going. Now, if Madoff would have let you know, but by the way, if there's a housing crisis in 2008 and I can't get money in because everybody needs the money because they're losing their ass on the stocks that they're in because the housing crash. So if you invested in real estate trust or attacking a Wall Street guy, he lost $60,000. But let's say he had money in Madoff, so he pulls his money because he lost the $60,000. So that's kind of what happened with Madoff. All those people lost money in the market, went to Madoff, said, "Give me my money. I need money to live on." That's what happened. And then since it was everybody, then that's why he ran out of money. Now, the JP Morgan guy should have printed it for him like he prints money now, but that's a whole different story. But anything to do with this, understand anything to do with this is a Ponzi scheme. Stock market, the bond market, the real estate trust, they're all fucking Ponzi schemes. You've got to avoid it. See, that's why it's simple. If you just bought gold and understood it, you would never lose. You would never, ever, ever, ever lose. You can't lose. So you would never get, I had $60,000, now I got 0, or I got Madoff, or I lost money in craps, or I lost money on the football bet, or I lost money in poker. You can't lose with gold. That's what the beauty of it is, and you don't have to worry about it. You'll never get a phone call, "Oh, by the way, your gold's worth 0. Nobody knows you have it. It's a beautiful thing. So this is why I tell you there's so many good things about gold, including no risk and a great return that's about to happen. That's the beauty of it. Can't tax you. They don't know you got it. Even 1099s, I was listening to some guy about 1099ing you, but I think if you go to Switzerland and sell it, I don't think there'll be a 1099. I'm not sure. And then it's on certain amounts and certain values. So if you sell 1 ounce of it, I don't think you get 1099. So you sell 1 ounce 25 times, but you really won't need to sell it. I don't think all my gold, I don't think I'll sell it all. I think it'll end up with Daria and Jenna is what it'll end up with, because I don't think you can, you will need to sell it all. You want a house. Here's an ounce of gold. I got a house. Here's an ounce of gold. I got a Mercedes. Okay. So no mortgage, no interest rates, and then you cash in one and you can eat, and you don't have mortgage because you bought the house with an ounce of gold. So you're living a very simple, no risk, and the gold keeps going up in value. So I don't know that I will sell all of it once the price goes up. I don't know. And then what's going to happen to your credit cards? They go to zero because they're priced in dollars. And as your house goes to zero, your credit card goes to zero, your mortgage goes to zero, because anything priced in dollars goes away, which leaves you. So the bank has, you got a $200,000 mortgage. Well, your house is worth zero now. And your mortgage payment is zero because there's no dollars. But the question is going to be, will the bank switch your mortgage from dollars to gold? Can they? I don't need gold. If I can't pay it. I mean, I don't know that they can. I think it just goes to zero. And I think your house goes to zero and gets revalued in gold. And I don't know that you can still have a mortgage or a credit card payment because they're all in dollars and I don't have dollars. The dollar's no good. So how can I pay you? They can't convert it to gold. I don't see how, because it's not, you got to have the gold. I mean, unless gold goes into your paycheck now, how do you work? I'm working at GM. I make 100,000 a year. Oh, wait, the dollar's gone. I make zero. Well, wait, you want me to work there? You got to pay me. And then the whole thing's got to go to a gold-backed system. I just don't know how that's going to happen. That's a fucking nightmare. They'll have to just convert it like 1/20th or something. So at 100,000 is 20,000 in gold or something like that. But 20,000 in gold will be back to 1966 with Joe Namath making 400 grand, and he can buy a house with $10,000. I remember driving around. Gas was like 19 cents a gallon in the early 60s. And I'm sure a house was like $5 grand. And you're like, wow, if only we had $5 grand. But that's before inflation. And then we're still on the gold standard, right? In the 60s. And then as soon as they took the silver out of the coin, the dimes and the quarters, the Mercury dimes, the quarters, the Kennedy halves, so anytime you get these silver coins before 1964, they're silver. After 64, they're toilet paper. And so that's the first clue. That's what the Romans did, right? So we've got the Roman playbook. How to destroy the Roman Empire. Oh, take the gold and silver out of the coin. Okay, let's do that. This is 1965. Okay, let's take the gold and silver out of the coins. What the fuck? So again, they're listening to Keynes, who's a communist, who's saying the government should control things. Probably not the guy you want to listen to if you're trying to run the government and the U.S., and yet they listen to him, and they still listen to him, and it still doesn't work, and it'll never work. So keep that in mind. Stay away from the Keynesians, stay away from the communists. Central control doesn't work, and it can't work. You don't want to be told what to do anyway, do you? All right. Okay, so last point. So again, football, like the under in the Baltimore-Pittsburgh game because there's no Lamar. It's raining and 17-mile-an-hour winds. We like Indy as the home dog because it's a playoff game, and I prefer taking the dog because I don't know who's going to win. And therefore, I like the points because in games where you don't know who's going to win, you want the points. I'll take 7.5. Even if Houston wins, it'll be close. Nothing for something. Okay, it works, just not for regular people who aren't part of the club. What are you talking about? Nothing for something. What are you talking about? Gold or paper or what? Football, poker. Be more specific. I talk about several things. So I like taking the dog in these situations. And then in Washington, I think beats Michigan, especially getting 10.5 or 11 points. You can't just ignore they beat Oregon twice. And if you watched Oregon, you'd be like blown away that Washington beat them twice. Talking about the money scheme. No, it doesn't work. But that's the point. It doesn't work. Just not for the regular people who aren't in part of the club. It works now, but very soon you're Warren Buffett and you got $2 billion and it's worthless. He's fucked too. Unless you're in the gold team, you're fucked in the dollar team, but they don't know it. They're smarter than we are. They got to tell us what to do. And that's the point. They don't know what the fuck they're doing. Yeah, they're running the printing presses and printing the money. And so it works for them now. But once the money is worthless and they're in the money, it doesn't work for them anymore. The only thing that works for everybody is gold. That's it. But they don't want gold. They just want to keep printing money because they're they're fucking the mafia. So they think money's it. We'll just keep printing and printing because they're idiots. And people like us will end up being on top because we'll have gold and silver. And that's where the money, this will go away. This will go to zero. It's at 1 cent. This goes to zero. So if you're holding 2 billion of these, you've got nothing. And then it changes to gold. And now you're like, okay, he had $2 billion. How much gold he got? Oh, you don't have any Warren Buffett? You're fucked. He does have silver. Bill Gates has farmland. That's going to really help him. Go milk a cow, Gates. I mean, what is that going to do? So basically, gold will end up being the savior, not the dollar, not how many it is. So it doesn't matter that if you're in the club or not, it works now, but it won't continue. It's like Madoff. People in Madoff were making good money until it didn't work. It wasn't real. It was a Ponzi scheme, as is dollars is a Ponzi scheme. So it works now. Everybody in Madoff will make it, but then you're not going to be in Madoff anymore. Madoff is done. The dollar is done. And now here's gold, and you can't fuck with gold. You can join the club and be in the club, but you can't get fucked by the club. They can't make it worthless. Much as they want to do derivatives and COMEX, they can't make it work. They're trying and they can't. And people are going, fuck, it's so cheap and I need it and I got to get out of the dollar, and they're buying it and buying it. And more people are getting into the gold club. And that's why I talk Titanic, because, you can see the ship is sinking. It's got water coming. I think it's going to sink. And that's where we are with the dollar. I think it's going to sink. And so you get into the lifeboat and that's gold. But are the people in the, what did you call it, in the club, they're still on the Titanic. They haven't gotten into the lifeboat. If they bought gold, they'd be in the lifeboat, but they're too stupid. They know everything. Nobody can tell anything, and they don't have gold. So now if they bought gold, they're in a gold club. That's a whole different story. I can't bitch at anybody who's smart enough to buy gold. I can bitch at people who have dollars and don't buy gold with it. Then they're idiots. And I love bitching at idiots. It's funny. I'm in the hot tub and just shaking my head going, yeah, you're going to go broke and you're going to go broke. And this was weird. I was at the grocery store last night just buying what was I buying? I don't remember what I was buying. What did I buy? I don't know. I got some veggies and I don't know. I think I bought something for dinner. And I wanted some chicken, but chicken I already made because I was really hungry and I didn't want to cook. And so anyway, I go there, and out of the blue, some lady goes, "Oh, I know you from the hot tub at the rec center, and where we swim, and when we wore the mask." And I go, "Fuck, that was 2 years. You remember me from 2 years ago? I've never talked to you before. You've never come up to me and said anything. how the fuck do you know me from 2 years ago? Because I wasn't. She says, you got yelled at for not wearing a mask. I said, well, I don't know who you are, but I get yelled at a lot there because they're a bunch of idiots, and I don't listen to rules. I make my own rules. So I couldn't believe this like it's 2 years ago, and now you're coming up to me like, okay. It's just funny how people know you that you don't have a clue know you. Oh, I know you, who you are, and I'm like, who are you? So I mean, that happens a lot. That's why you got to be careful out there. That's why the real pretty Ukrainian and Russian girls go out with makeup on and do their hair and they dress nice because they want to market themselves and they never know who's watching. And so I'm getting yelled at for not wearing a mask. And here's this lady notices me. So you're always being noticed. And this was not like Big Brother. This was just a lady who swims in hot tubs like I do. So keep that in mind. Hot tub time left an impression on her. This wasn't even in the hot tub. This was, I don't know, because you didn't need to wear the mask in the hot tub, but in the pool, you didn't need to wear the mask. But when you got out of the pool, like let's say you were going to the bathroom, right? You got to pee, you're in the pool, you don't want to pee in the pool. So you get out of the pool and walk to the bathroom and go back. And they wanted me to put a mask on to go to the bathroom. So you got to be fucking kidding. Why? I'm in the pool. I don't want to get too cold. But yeah, I mean, it was crazy. Wear a mask. This is insanity at its highest. But yeah, I can't believe she would have remembered me to walk up to me at a grocery store 2 years later and go, "You're the guy I saw at the health club who didn't wear a mask, who got yelled at." Like, really? Wow. That's insane. I mean, so you got to be careful, but that's where marketing comes in. So the girls market themselves like, look how pretty I am. So you want them, right? Just like a car or Rolex. Look how beautiful the Rolex is marketing themselves going, I want that watch. It's beautiful. It's nice and dark green and golden and everything. Yeah, that's the watch I want. And so that's what marketing is. It makes you want the product. And so that's what the girls do. So you want them, they dress nice or sexy or wear their hair a certain way. And you want them because that's marketing. So they're smart enough. They should all be in marketing. I don't think they are. I don't think they're not that smart. Like they know what they're doing, but they don't realize it's marketing because they should be in, because that's what I said about this. There's a whole marketing team that goes into the design of this bottle. How big is it? What do we want it to look like? The label, how do they choose black and the top? And this is all marketing that developed this bottle to look the way it looks and the colors. That's why you see Doers or you see Black Label or any of those, Maker's Mark, the wax. I mean, it's all marketed to get you to look at it that you want to buy it. Very clever. A woman's face is her work of fiction. I don't know if it's fiction, but it's the presentation to get you to the door. And then a woman has to talk a certain way. Then it's her personality to seal the deal. So if she's pretty, you'll go to her, but if she's a bitch, you'll just walk away. Like Carmen. Carmen's very beautiful, my friend from Romania, but all she wants is money. And you're like, okay, forget it, Carmen. I'm not interested in giving you all this money. That's ridiculous. So she's good at the door, but then when you open the door, she's got to then go through the next set. All that paint. Well, the women, they do look nice. They look nicer. Like, well, maybe if you're used to seeing them in makeup and then you see them without makeup, it's a different story. Then you're like, they don't look the same without the makeup. But if you see them without makeup and they put the makeup on, it does make them look prettier. It does make it more attractive for you to see them, just like the clothes they wear. If they wear sexy nylons or whatever, does make it more appealing than not. But at the end of the day, it's the talk, it's the personality that you either like or you don't like. Oh, I don't want to be controlled. You're trying to control me. Fuck off. I don't care how pretty you are. So that's a lot of it too. And are they the maintenance and really how strong are you? Because I'm very strong, so I can just say no. You're not going to control me. But if everything else works out, then you're not being controlled. Then it's fine. Well, when she's still pretty without makeup, very nice. Yeah, well, that's true. A little makeup's fine. But yeah, I mean, it helps if they wear lipstick and eye stuff and they look pretty. There's nothing wrong with that. It's personnel. It's the talking to. Can you talk to them, right? And if you can't, then there isn't. It doesn't matter how much makeup they put on. If they don't, if you can talk to them, it doesn't matter about the makeup. But a little lipstick and eye thing, and they're nice, then yeah, that's fine. That helps too. Because as guys, I don't put lipstick on or makeup. And apparently people remember me from 2 years ago wearing and not wearing a mask. That's just beyond me, that how anybody I never talked to would know me at a fucking grocery store. You're the one who, I mean, I'm like blown away from that. So anyway, that's that. I need a haircut. I think I'll get Monday. But you don't mind the makeup. That's what women do. It's fine. Okay. Well, I'm telling you, I can't, I'm shocked by that. But we didn't wear masks for a while, right? It was 2020 that you wore a mask. We're 2023 or 2021. In fact, she came up to me at a grocery store and I'm looking at lettuce or something. I think I was buying my red leaf lettuce, and she came up and it was just, oh, I know you. Like I was her cousin or something. Oh, I know you. And you're like, who the fuck are you? I would never have known who she was, ever. Anyway. So that's what we've got. So we've got Egon with the gold. So here's the Egon video if you want to watch it. So it's 2024 Extreme Risk. It just came out 8 hours ago as of now. The guy in the left, well, the guy who's not Egon, I don't really listen to. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Egon's the one you want to listen to. But in a synopsis, it's gold going to go to the moon, which is what we already know and we've already talked about several times. A lot of risk, a lot of wars, which we've already talked about. Inflation, we've not only talked about it, but explained it and what happens, and the central banks buying gold, which we've already talked about. So a lot of it's review, but it's Egon telling us to reassure what I'm telling you is we're on the same page. But him I'll listen to. I won't listen to Maloney and Rick Rude and Reichert and all these guys. I won't listen to. Andy Scheckman, they're a bunch of morons. They know these words but don't know what they are. Oh, I'm an economist. Oh, bullshit. You're not an economist. You heard a few economic terms. You're not an economist. These guys aren't. Most of them are Keynesians, or they're just idiots that don't like Mike Maloney. He said, well, I learned from Robert Kiyosaki. I just wanted to learn, so I learned from him. You didn't learn anything. You're not an economist because he told you stuff. You're listening to him, but does he know what he's talking about? I've listened to the guy, and he's just a salesman. He just talks, but he doesn't know what he's talking about. His facts are false. So I don't really know. I don't really pay attention. Just Egon and Alligator we were talking to yesterday. This is what I was listening to yesterday with Alligator. So I recommend that too. And that's an hour, but what you do is you listen to 20 minutes of it while you're cooking or cleaning. I go on the exercise bike. I turn it. The TV has CNN. I want to throw up. So I watch this for 20 minutes and do my bike, and then listen to it in the car, which is better than anything in the car. So anyway, there'll all be Lions in Michigan here, and I'll be throwing up. But we will see. So that's about it. So Washington should beat Michigan, and then I gave you the free pick of the Bears over with the Packers, not beating them, but over. But I think they'll beat them. But it's a much safer play over because the line's so low. It's 44-38 I need in that game. It's a joke. Vegas, we have found their weakness, and we are taking advantage. I've been so hot the last 6 weeks. It's unbelievable. Now, if you go to my site to check me out and you look at my history, there's a problem with the formula, and I've talked about it before. It's not doing it correctly. I don't know what my total is, but it's not 100,000. It's probably 30 or 40. But I've been so hot lately. It's the last 5-6 weeks in pros has been unbelievable. College balls, I did okay, although I got really hot in the middle. I got fucked by Florida State not playing because I played it under. But I hit Alabama and Washington, and now Washington again. So anyway, that's what's going on. Gold to go up. Buy your gold. You're buying gold because the dollar is worthless. You first have to get that through your head. Oh my God, the dollar's worthless. Yes, I can go to the restaurant and pay for the meal, but they're taking worthless dollars for it. Does not mean it has a value. So you get a hamburger and fries and it's $15. Does not mean because they're taking the dollar's worth $15. It's just that's what they're charging, and they're accepting the dollar as a payment method. But that does not mean the dollar's worth $15. In that scenario, the dollar's worth $15. It used to be $3 for a hamburger and fries, or $4, right? So it used to be $3 or $4. Now it's $15, but it's really not worth anything. How can the dollar be worth nothing? Because it's supposed to be a medium of exchange. It's worth nothing because they keep printing the fuck out of it. But because of the laws, they have to take it as the medium of exchange. Now, what I would do and what I do with Teaserking when I get paid, it's I have to PayPal it to the bank. I go to the bank and I go to the gold store and I turn it into gold. I'm like Rumpelstiltskin. I can turn dollars into gold. And that's basically what it is you're turning it into gold. And that I can trust. So that's what I would do if I had a store. I have to accept dollars because the government forces me to. But I don't want it, so I immediately turn it into gold. I was telling my friend yesterday, I said to her, well, you shouldn't take dollars to get paid. You should get paid in silver and gold. You should ask for silver and gold, not dollars. And she gets it. I says, well, this bank's going under. And she says, why? I says, because, then you explain banking. Well, You put 10 grand into me and I have to give you interest. Where do I get the money to give you interest? Unless Madoff comes in and I get another guy to give me money to get 5% interest, and then I take his money. The only other way is if I loan your money out for a higher percentage than I'm giving you. So because I'm giving you 5% for your 100,000, I then have to loan your 100 grand out and get 8% for somebody for a mortgage or a car, and then take the 8% I get and give you 5 and I keep 3. That's what a bank does. However, if I can't loan it out because everything's too fucking expensive, how do I pay you your 5%? Oh, yeah, Federal Reserve. Yeah, this is Bank of America. I'm going to need some money because I got to pay my people who put their money, who are stupid enough to put the money in the bank and they actually want interest. So I need to pay them. So I need some money. And that's what the Fed funds rate is. It's the Fed charging Bank of America to get the money so they can pay the people, so they can pay the customers their interest. And that's exactly what a bank is. So they take your money and loan it out and make money on it to pay you your interest. What a fucked up system. And again, if you have gold, you don't need it. And you don't need interest rates. You wouldn't put your money in the bank. My money's not in the bank with gold. What am I going to do with it? So yeah, it's funny how there's no gold accounts, right? I can't give them $2,000 worth of gold and say, give me interest on it. How are they going to pay me? Well, we don't have gold to pay you interest in gold. That would be interesting. Well, we'll give you a 1/10 of an ounce of gold interest. That's hilarious. But again, it's the dollar that's going down, and it takes more dollars to buy your Coke and Pepsi and Oreos. That's what's going on. So understand that they're printing the dollars. Yes, there is repercussions. It's worthless. Yes, the debt's 35 trillion. And yes, we do have to pay it. We can't ignore it. And yes, there's $125 trillion of offshore amounts that people in other countries have in the U.S. that they're about to pull back before they lose it, and they'll put it in their own currency. So if I'm some Japanese guy and I got $1 million in a property and it's going to zero, I sell it, and then I get my whatever I'm worth in yen, and I put it in my backyard or somewhere. I don't know. He buys gold with it if he's smart. But that's what's going to happen. So there's 125 trillion of these dollars that are out there because nobody trusts their government and nobody trusts their banks because it's all fucking corrupt. Just like Venezuela is a fucking nightmare, as is, half of these countries, all the communist stuff, that they don't trust it. So they put it in the U.S. for safe haven. And lo and behold, we're fucking them over too. So as soon as the confidence goes and nobody wants the dollar, she's the fat, ugly girl at the end of the bar who's 60 years old and nobody wants. And that's where we're at with the dollar. And they keep printing it and printing it. That's when it goes out, when nobody wants it. And they can't do T-bills. They try to do these T-bill auctions. Nobody wants it. So the central bank the Fed is buying the treasuries, because they need money, so they sell the bonds to pay for debt and pay for running running the country. They don't have enough money, so they sell T-bills. And who buys them? Well, the other countries did it first for safe haven. Now nobody wants them. The Japs, the Chinese, and everybody else saying, we don't want your bonds because you got 35 trillion in debt. You're not going to pay me back. Why would I give you money for bonds? So now we buy our own bonds. Well, you can't. What do you mean you buy your own bonds? What is that? So this is how the retards run a country. So keep that in mind. Please be careful. It's coming to a theater near you very soon. So if you're in gold and you bought it now, and now you just sit back because there's nothing you can do. Stoic means I can only control what I can control. I can't control what the government does, but I can control what I do with my money, which is buy gold. I can control that. I can control what I can do. And so that's why you buy gold now, because you can control it. You got money, you buy it, you put it in a safe, and you're out of your dollars. You have a few thousand, is it, and that's it. So now you can control what you can control, and that's what you're trying to do. And in all walks of life, you can't control the girl rejecting you. You can only control your own emotions. You can talk to her, but you can't. She's got to make up her mind, or same thing in poker, craps, or anything. They got to make up their mind. You can only kind of, like at poker, you can work on the hand, but at the end of the day, they call you or they bluff you or they fold, and all you can control is yourself. That's why you can't tilt me, because I can control not being tilted, because I just don't give a fuck. If I get beat, I say I got beat. I made a bad read, and then I try to figure out why I made a bad read. Oh shit, I called, they were bluffing. Okay, why? How do I know they're bluffing is what I need to do. So then I watch them in other hands to try to figure it out. But that's the thing. Hey, Nick. Well, if you bought my package, Nick, you would see the bet. And if you listen to the video, you would see the bet. I talked about all that in the video. So just to recap for you, Nick, yeah, I played the under because it's raining and 17-mile-an-hour winds, which you should know off the top of your head anyway. And in the Colts, I took the home dog. I teased the dog. And then I took the free pick is Chicago over with Green Bay, as the weather's fine there. It's in the mid-30s and no wind. And Fields just scores somehow, and Green Bay scores. Green Bay doesn't have a defense. Chicago kind of does, a little bit better, but Green Bay will score. And, I think of the Detroit-Chicago game. Chicago won 28-13 is a 41, and you got a 44, so you're over 38. That's a joke. So I got 2 locks going this weekend. And, and your free picks the Bears. And Alabama came through, so I was happy about that. But that's your point, Nicholas. But that's not the lock, so you need to buy the locks. But anyway, very interesting. So keep in mind your gold. It's based on it can't get inflated, and the dollar's worthless. So that's really the key to understand there. And in football, we're looking at defenses. This weekend, we're looking at wind. It's not too windy. When I really look at the wind, like I said, Cincinnati's 13 mile an hour. Green Bay's only 10. Tennessee's 9. Miami's 11. New England's down to 15, not 25. And the Giants are 9 mile an hour and 13 mile an hour in Frisco, but everybody's out, so it doesn't matter. 15 mile an hour in Washington, shouldn't matter. 14 mile an hour in Carolina, and 16 mile an hour with rain tonight, and no Lamar. He needs to rest. I love that one. So we're going to be betting against Baltimore in the first playoff game, as they're fucked. They've just fucked themselves. You cannot sit your quarterback out 3 weeks and expect him to be any good. The timing will be off. You can't practice it. You can only get it in a game. So we will have fun with that. They'll play the lowest seed. So we've got 2 against 7, 3 against 6, 4 against 5. So we got 3 wild cards. So it could be Miami they could get. Interesting. Pitt will be out. Buffalo will probably get the 2 seed. Miami the 5. Maybe the South, they'll be the 4 seed. Cleveland is the 5 seed, and Baltimore the 6. So it's Cleveland and Miami have those 2. So it'll be it'll be Houston Indy, I guess. If Jacksonville wins, they'll get the Houston Indy team, and that will not be an easy game for Baltimore. Pretty good defenses there. Well, not Indy, but Houston does. Or Kansas City's in the mix. They're the 3 seed, I guess. They're going to have fun with Kansas City, Baltimore will. So again, you look at Baltimore against Miami, it doesn't really matter to you. It's how they played Miami, but they're not playing Miami this week. All right. Time to go swimming and have a little salad and go from there. So have a good day, everybody. Thanks for watching. Again, there's alligator here. This was yesterday. And then there's Egon here, and that's today's. I just showed you that. Goal to go through the moon. And you really just need to get out of paper. So keep those 2 in mind. Anyway, have a nice day. www.teaserking.com. If you want the locks and really how to bet the picks, you need to buy the week. But if you buy the week, you buy the rest of the game. So if you buy this week, you get all the games through the Super Bowl, and it'll include the Michigan-Washington game. So that's it. So anyway, that's today. Otherwise, if you want the playoffs, it's $100 for all the playoffs next week. But you might as well get this week's games and the Michigan-Washington game for the same price, and I'll take you through the Super Bowl. So anyway, www.teaserking.com. All right, everybody. Have a nice day. I am off.